Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. We have the Game Week 2 stream today. I have already made a transfer. I'm not triple captaining Haaland. I did just say to Pickle over there that I might triple captain Salah just for the banter, really, because everyone's going for Haaland, but I'm not going to do that. But welcome. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know what you're doing. And the Saturday streams are back. I love them. And I think especially if you're based in the UK or a similar time zone, it's nice waking up on a Saturday and watching the stream. I obviously don't watch the stream, I do the stream, but it's the same thing. It's part of the Saturday morning routine. So yeah, let me know what you're doing right now. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And good to see you in the chat. Appreciate you being here already. Nice and early. I mean, we're starting ahead of 9 a.m. I'm not only on time, I'm ahead of time. Good to see some of the regulars. FPL Chicken, good to see you. Kieran in the chat. Zodiac, good to see you. We've got Claudette, of course. Will in the chat. Darren. Big love to everyone already here. Nice and early. FPL Pickle, of course, in the chat and also sat just there. Good to see you, Emily. Posh. Big man Tim Dog. Melbourne. I would love to be in Australia. It'd be nice and... Is it? No, it's not. Actually, it's cold, I think, in Australia, isn't it? I was going to say it's probably better weather. Aren't the Australian seasons completely the opposite? Because one of my PhD supervisors moved to Australia and he said it was at Christmas, it was like boiling hot and it was like really weird for him to celebrate Christmas Day when it was hot. Little fun fact for you. Love a stream. Thank you very much, Max. I appreciate it. Got my knees already. Interesting transfer. Interesting. Yeah, I do love the Saturday morning streams. Man, please don't waste time. Tell us about the transfer you did. No, I'm keeping you in suspense. No, I'm joking. I'll show you now. I mean, I did tweet that I was going to do it, but I did it last night before the price changes. So, here's the team. I've just put a few... It's not a particularly pretty graphic, but I just put a few notes at the top of the team just to avoid the same questions being asked over and over again. So, I've already made my transfer. It was Solanke to Moniz. I think Armstrong was fine. I think João Pedro was fine. I think Chris Wood was fine. I think I could have saved the transfer, played a 4-5-1, and waited for Watkins. That would have been absolutely fine as well. But Moniz was a player that I desperately wanted to fit in for Game Week 1. In fact, I had Moniz in pretty much every draft until Solanke made the transfer to Spurs. And I just felt like Solanke had the edge there. But considering I wanted Moniz the whole of pre-season, it felt like a good opportunity to now get him ahead of what is a really nice few fixtures. Also, I said in the deadline decisions video, Moniz has scored 7 goals in his last 8 home games, and 3 of the next 4 are at home. So he's got Leicester, West Ham, and Newcastle at home in the next 4, and the only away game is against Ipswich. And I also spoke about, and we saw this against Liverpool, Ipswich, when they're playing at home, are incredibly attacking. They go very all out because they want to impress their home fans. Like, there's an incredible atmosphere at their stadium. So I feel like that's not even an awful fixture. The only slight concern is there are rumours going around that Fulham are looking to sign another forward. I don't think that will directly impact Moniz's minutes immediately, but obviously that will over time. And also it seemingly looks like he'll get early subs pretty much every game for Raul Jimenez. Will he be benched in the odd game? There's the potential, but I felt like Chris Wood with Awoniyi there and also Nketiah was a risk. João Pedro, they've got Ruta, they've got Welbeck, they've got other players they're looking to sign. They've got Minte who plays the 10. Matoma can play on the right, left 10 or as the 9. So I just feel like they've got a lot of... I think the only nailed on one for me was Armstrong. But then I heard some Southampton fans saying that he might get the odd early sub if they don't start Archer and Armstrong together. So none of the forwards at that price felt fully nailed. The only other option I had, imagine that Moniz is Solanke. I had the option to do this like 4-5-1 and then next week with 2 free transfers move for Ollie Watkins. So maybe I'll regret not doing that. But I can still move for Ollie Watkins in the future, right? I'm not now prevented from getting Ollie Watkins. I just won't have 2 free transfers to do it for the Leicester game next week. But I have Moniz for Leicester this week. So that was the kind of thought process behind it. For me, the only real thing I need to think about is, do I triple captain Salah? I really want to triple captain Salah now. I think that'd be great. No, but the real decision for me is, do I start Robinson or Gabriel? I'll probably run a poll a bit later, but I think the polls are largely useless because not many people have Gabriel and pretty much everyone has Robinson. So everyone's going to say start Robinson because they have Robinson. But I think if you have Gabriel and Robinson, it is quite a tricky decision. I've looked at different sites for projected points just to sort of sense check myself. It's like identical on pretty much every site. So there's not much between them. It's just hoping you get a bit lucky. I had a dream actually that Robinson got 2 assists. Don't know if that means anything, but there we go. So yeah, that's my team. Let me know what you think of it. Let me get back to the chat. There's my little rant over about my team. I'm pretty happy with it. By the way, if you are watching right now, can you drop an early like on the stream? The more people that like the stream when you just start streaming, the more people the stream will be spread out to. So if you're one of the loyal people that are here already, always here on time for the streams, please do drop it a cheeky like. Shazam says, great FPL therapy this week. Loving the format. Thank you. Praz was awesome. Everyone really enjoyed Praz as a guest, so we'll definitely get him back on. Dilemma time. Do I roll the transfer and play Robinson? Okay. 4-4-2 with Trent, Gabriel, and Gvardiol. Or do I swap Solanke to Havertz and play 3-4-3 benching Robinson? The funny thing is, when I look at that, I say, I just play Robinson. But I've obviously not done what I've just said, and I've made the transfer. I think it comes down to how much do you think Havertz has upside this week in comparison to a Robinson? I would say if I had Robinson sat on my bench, I'd probably want to start him. So I would be tempted. Like for me, I guess it's slightly different because number one, I don't have Robinson on my bench. I have Gabriel. But secondly, I think Muniz this week is probably slightly better than Havertz if we're looking at fixture. So I feel like it's a better entry point for Muniz. So I think that's really, really fine, that decision. But I would probably lean towards just playing Robinson, I think, Shazam. But thank you very much for the super chat and the support. I appreciate you so much, mate. Got Quantset and backups are 2 4 million defenders. Sad times. That is sad. There are good 4 million defenders out there, though. Brentford have just signed Vandenberg. He could be good. You've got Wout Fass, Greaves, Harwood, Bellis has a good fixture this week. So, I mean, there are other fours if you need to go there. But, yeah, it's not ideal. Quantset was... The thing is, it was unlucky, but at the same time, you're starting with a defender that you knew wasn't nailed on. So I think that's always the risk that you take, and maybe that is a lesson moving forward. It's one of the reasons I switched out Barco. I obviously didn't think Barco would go on loan to Sevilla, so I'm not a genius psychic, but there's just always that risk associated with players like that, which is why I chose Robinson, Porro, Trent, Gabriel, Greaves. I expect all of them to start 35-plus games this season if they're fit. Robinson had 37 starts last season. Greaves is their best defender, so... Yeah, like I'm seeing people move for Rico Lewis now. Rico Lewis is a fantastic option this week. I expect him to get at least 6 points. But you're doing Quantza to Rico Lewis. It's like, here's one issue. Let me replace him with another issue. And I know Muniz is a slight minutes risk, but I think we need to try and limit minutes risks wherever we can, especially in Game Week 1. Paul Clapperton says, good morning, Ross. Good morning, Paul. Benching headache. Start Gabriel Robinson. Well, I mean, you can see the text up there above my team. That's my only remaining decision. At the moment, I'm leaning Robinson. If you look at clean sheet odds according to the bookies, the biggest gap that I've seen in terms of Arsenal coming out on top, depending on what odds you look at, is about 3%. Most of them have them dead even. So even if Arsenal have a 3% greater chance for a clean sheet, I would say Robinson has more than a 3% greater chance of an attacking return. Because Robinson last year got 6 assists. Gabriel got a few goals, but overall Robinson is more attacking. And also Robinson is greater for baseline bonus due to the amount of chances he creates. And Gabriel's just not very good for bonus. So I feel like if clean sheets are equal, Robinson's slightly more goal threat. Sorry, slightly more like assist threat, but attacking threat in general. And also slightly better for baseline bonus. I just feel like overall Robinson edges it for me. But yeah, I absolutely think there's justification to start an Arsenal defender. I'm still not fully committed either way, but yeah, I think you could go either way with that one. Hi, Ross, 2.5 in the bank. Would you do Solanke to Havertz or roll and play Rodgers for more information? In that case, I'd do Solanke to Havertz, yeah. If you've got the money. I don't really love the idea of starting Rodgers this week. No disrespect to Villa. They beat Arsenal twice last year, but... Yo, Raptor, just joining in to say, ha, ha, ha. Haaland. Oh, I'm so scared. I've already said to Pickle, can we not be on our phones and checking SofaScore and watching Sky Sports News at 3 p.m? I can't do it. My mental health will be in the bin. Like, I know it's not something to joke about. Genuinely, if I have to watch the trickle of Haaland scoring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Listen, if Haaland smashes it, the worst thing about it would be it trickling in one by one and just hoping he stops. If I, at 5 p.m, 5:30 p.m, open up SofaScore, check the score, and see that Haaland scored 5, that is terribly painful. But it's like ripping the plaster off. I don't want to see that slow trickle of goals and points come in. So yeah, I will not be on my phone or even glancing at anything at 3 p.m. I will be throwing my phone in the bin.
Also, I'll be trying very hard not to laugh.
Yeah, exactly, because you've got Haaland captain, your little template, WANKER. No Haaland in the team. So to cover City, well, firstly, that doesn't exist. I don't think you need to cover City. I've got no City, but I understand what you mean. Son to KDB or whom from City. Son didn't look good in game week 1. Son didn't look good in game week 1, but he may be playing as the 9, although I think it will be Kulu or Richarlison. But also he'll definitely be on pens now. And also Everton were really poor in game week 1. I wouldn't be selling Son for KDB or Foden. If I were to choose one out of KDB and Foden, it would be Foden. I just prefer Foden as an asset, in all honesty. Kieran, hi Ross. Is it unreasonable to use the Solanke injury to justify taking a -4 and bringing in Haaland? Would do Salah and ESR and captain Haaland. If you think that Haaland and Smith Rowe, captain obviously Haaland, will outscore Salah and whoever your Solanke, but whoever you would bring in instead of Solanke, I suppose, so Salah and like Muniz, yeah, go for it. I would just say, having planned ahead, looked at optimization, models, everything, I think everyone, or most people, are looking to bring Salah in here, which is game week 4. So Nottingham Forest at home, Bournemouth at home, Wolves away, Palace away. Maybe you can get away with not owning him in game week 4, which is fine. Although I would want to, especially with the fact that Forest haven't looked great so far. I mean, only in one game, but a little bit shaky they looked against Bournemouth. And that's at home. And then if you look at game week 5, it's City against Arsenal. So there really isn't a good viable captaincy. I think Newcastle have Fulham, if I remember correctly. But it's away. I don't see another good captaincy option. You could just captain Haaland in game week 5 and hope that City score goals against Arsenal. But I don't see an equally good option as Salah in game week 5. I think Salah is the standout. So if you think I'm going to want to have Salah in 5 and probably 4, you're selling him in 2, but then you want to buy him back a couple of weeks later. In all honesty, I think if you've got Salah, I would just keep and captain Salah. I don't think there's a drastic difference between Salah and Haaland this week. That's just for me, though. Start Smith Rowe or Bailey. Oh, Smith Rowe 100 times out of 100. We will survive without Haaland. I don't know about survive, but I mean, yeah, we'll survive, but I don't think we'll have much fun with it, in all honesty. In all honesty, I think it could be pretty painful. But how do you rate Armstrong? Yeah, I like him. Minutes are good. Should be on pens. Fixtures are nice, but I think there are certainly... I think there are not certainly, but I think there are better options. That's my opinion. Play Nkunku, Jacob Murphy / Gabriel. Great content as always. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. If you can only start one of Nkunku, Murphy, Gabriel, I'd start Nkunku. Then it's probably a 50-50 between Gabriel and Murphy for me. But I'd probably still start the attacker. I'd probably have them in the order that you've listed them, Pagoda. Craig says, good morning, Ross. Who would you captain without Haaland or Salah? Currently thinking Palmer. Also got a feeling Haaland only gets 1 return today. Oh, if Haaland gets 9 points, that's the dream. That I don't even expect or envision or want a blank. I just... Give me 1 or 2. Anything less than 13 or less, I'm taking. If Haaland gets you 26 points, and I just need a return from Salah at that point. And even if Salah doesn't return, the template Haaland team that I've seen going around is on 58 points, and I'm on 83 at the moment. So I'm 25 points ahead. If Salah gets 26 points today, then great. Then we're back to equal, right? And I've also got the rest of my players to play, so you never know. I think Palmer is injured, actually. Yeah, I don't know. He was clutching his hamstring, wasn't he? Anyway, sorry, back to your point about who would you captain. I'd be tempted by a defender, like a Trent or a Porro. But I don't love captaining a defender. Maybe a Diogo Jota. I'd probably go for a Liverpool player. Or I suppose if you've got Son, that's not awful, though. I wasn't impressed in game week 1. I don't know about Palmer, just because Chelsea, a bit stinky and inconsistent, and we don't know if he's fit. And if he might be fit, but he might still be feeling his hamstring, so he might start and get like 60 mins. I'm not sure I'd go there at the moment. We also still don't know where Palmer's going to play. Is he still going to play out on the right? Praz made a great point on FPL Therapy that at the moment, Maresca plays a very system-based approach. He has a system-based approach where Palmer will be on the right wing and he won't have that license to drift and float around and pick up the ball wherever he wants. So it might be that Palmer's not as good this season. I don't know. But yeah, it's a possibility. SK says, good morning. I went Lewis, White, Pedro, Jota, Eze, Doku, Salah, Smith Rowe, Muniz, Haaland. What do you think? Yeah, it's a beautiful team. I mean, for this week in particular, it looks great. You've got Lewis, you've got Doku, you've got Haaland. I'm assuming that's a wild card. It just feels like you've got triple City there. You've got Lewis and Doku. I'm assuming that's a wild card. It's a nice team, but I do feel like you've almost treated that a bit like a free hit. You've built a team that looks amazing in game week 2. But beyond that, are you wanting Lewis, Doku, I mean, they're the only two really that stand out. Although then you've also got double Fulham of Smith Rowe and Moniz. I would say in like 2 or 3 weeks, you've got 4 players that you might potentially want to get out. And at the moment, if you've got 0 Arsenal in there, you've got Ben White. I just think from game week 6, you're going to want Arsenal. Also, maybe a slight lack of Liverpool for their fixtures. I'm thinking more in defence because I think they'll be very good defensively this season. It's not a bad wildcard at all, but there are a few things where I feel like you've maybe attacked it a little bit too hard with the game week 2 fixtures. Why is Gabriel benched? It's just between Robinson and Gabriel. I don't think I can't bench Trent, and I'm not going to. And I think Porro showed how attacking he is, and also Everton were really poor. So for me, it's Robinson and Gabriel. Do you know what? I'll run a poll immediately, and then we'll do a captaincy poll after. Who would you start? Robinson, Gabriel. If it was like a slightly better fixture, I mean, ever so slightly, even if it was like Everton at home for Gabriel, I think I would. But Villa away is a tough fixture. Who would you start? Robinson, Gabriel. There you go. So the poll is who would you start, okay? Not who would you bench, who would you start? I'd love to know what you think. I think it will be comfortably Robinson everyone will vote for, but like I said, I think that's because everyone has Robinson. And not as many people have Gabriel. Gabriel's quite lowly owned, I've noticed. De Bruyne... Ben says, hello, Raptor. I swapped Munoz for Rico with a free transfer. You swapped Munoz for Rico? Would you recommend swapping him for Wood for Moniz and risk losing 4 points? No, I wouldn't have made either of those transfers. I think Munoz and Wood are fine. But yeah, I wouldn't do Wood to Moniz either. I don't think you needed to remove Munoz, but I mean, you've done it now, so there's no point me saying that now. But I think this is an example of just like, you don't need to always make transfers. Sometimes your team's okay. De Bruyne or Foden? Foden for me, Joe. No Haaland or Salah. Yeah, I still think Foden. Foden's minutes might not be quite as great, but I just think he's got greater goal threat. De Bruyne doesn't have the same goal threat, and he can score in a given game, absolutely. But we need an update. Did HP make a team, and how bad is it? Mr. Harry Pinero got off to an absolute flyer. We also have got young Philly in the league as well now. Let me show you. Harry Pinero's on 77 points, and his team's banging. Like, it's a good team. This is it, look. I don't know what he's going to do with Solanke. He said he's going to make a differential transfer. He also went for Alex Moreno, which was an awful choice, but it somehow ended up working out now that he's at Forest. But yeah, he's got a really decent team, Harry Pinero. Stormzy's actually bottom at the moment, believe it or not. He won't stay there because he's very good at FPL, but Chunks is on 86 points. Chunks is just sneaky good. Like last season, he didn't have a great season, but the season before that, 66k he finished. Yeah, very, very, very decent. And then, yeah, Philly's started playing FPL this season. It's not a bad team, actually, considering it's his first year. It's a bit of a weak bench, but outside of that, no Arsenal attackers as well, I suppose. But I think Philly and Sharky are triple captaining. That's Sharky's team, by the way, if anyone wants to do it. Philly and Sharky are going to triple captain Haaland. So that's nice. Hopefully they don't get loads of points. Solanke to João Pedro or Moniz. I think they're absolutely fine. Both of them. I went Moniz for the fixtures, but I think João Pedro's on pens. Minutes will be very similar. Yeah, I think both are fine. What about Vardy? Yeah, Vardy's gone up in price already. Crazy, but I think he's good. I think people are getting carried away. It's not the same Vardy. In the Championship, he wasn't getting as many minutes as you would expect. So in the Prem, I think once everyone's fit and available, maybe he doesn't start every game. But yeah, for now, I think he's going to start. And he's going to get good minutes, and he's on penalties. We know if he plays. And Vardy in the Prem is just, he's different gravy. And I know this is a different Vardy, but we have got enough proof that Vardy knows how to score goals in the Prem. So yeah, I don't mind it. The fixtures aren't awful overall. I mean, Fulham this week, Fulham were really poor defensively in game week 1. I don't think Anderson and Sanderberg will play, so I think they'll still be a little bit shaky defensively. So I don't know why I've got Robinson, but there we go. I'm using a wildcard. Any 11 suggestions? I think firstly, work out whether you want Haaland or Salah. I don't think have both. I think have one. I would definitely have Trent. I would definitely have one Fulham attacker. I would have Saka. I'd have at least one Arsenal defender, maybe two. And then fill in the spots around that. Isak I would obviously have for now as well. It wouldn't be far off what I've got here. It's just if you want to have Haaland, you'd switch around a few spots, I suppose. And I would probably want 3 Arsenal. Salah has 6 goals and assists in his last 5 games against Brentford. I had seen that stat. I've not mentioned it because I don't think it's relevant, but yeah. Like people are talking about this as if Salah's got a terrible fixture and Haaland is always going to outscore him. Absolutely, Haaland is the better captain, but Salah is Salah and he's playing against Brentford at home. It's not an awful fixture for him. We saw that Palace got chances against Brentford, and that was at the G-Tech Stadium. That wasn't home for Palace. So I think at Anfield, Salah's going to get a lot of chances. Gordon to KDB Foden for a -4. Gordon to KDB Foden for a -4. No. Plan to do Watkins next week for Isak. Got 88 last week. Might be quite an offensive move or no hit. I mean, if you want to kind of keep going and go aggressive, because that strategy can work, absolutely. Like, Foden could definitely outscore Gordon by more than 4 points. But for me, just because you got 88 last week, I mean, that's fantastic. Just bank those. But you don't have to then go and spend those points making moves. So whilst I don't love Gordon this week, I equally don't think that you need to make that transfer. If it was for free, Gordon to Foden for free, yeah, I probably would. But what you're saying then is Gordon not only needs to blank, but Foden needs to return. And if Gordon doesn't blank, Foden needs to get 2 returns. It's just quite unlikely, I think. Pedro Hall today put new transfers in their place. What? Pedro Porro or João Pedro? Hopefully not João Pedro. I'll take a Pedro Porro Hall. Take a hit for Solanke to Maniz or play Rogers Conser. Oh, for a hit, maybe play Rogers. If it was for free, absolutely. But for a hit, I'd be tempted to just play Rogers and hope that Villa score. I have Bruno, but can go KDB or Foden. What are your thoughts? I'd keep Bruno. Bruno had the second highest XG in Game Week 1, but he missed 2 big chances, I know. But I think if he scores one of those, no one's talking about removing Bruno. And I know that's ifs, buts, and maybes. If my auntie had ball, should be my uncle, whatever. I still think that he's getting in good positions and he's getting the chances to score goals. Salah will outscore Haaland over Game Week 1 to 2 combined. That would be nice. And if that's the case overall, then we're definitely up. Absolutely. Template FC. This is obviously not Template FC, though, is it? I don't have Haaland. It's immediately not a Template FC team.
I guess other than the fact you don't have Haaland, though, it is template.
Maybe. Maniz is slightly different.
Yeah, we have the same team, basically, other than that.
Maniz is slightly different. I don't think Jota's massively template. I think he's owned by a few, but he's not a template. But yeah, it's not... But I think saying I don't have Haaland is enough to say it's not template. A lot are asking about Nkunku versus Smith Rowe. Yeah, I can bring up this graphic then. There you go. What is this based on? Vibes. Utter vibes. Nothing more, nothing less. So there you go. There's no stats. There's no bookies odds. This is vibes. This is my order of which players I would start and bench. So for me, if you're talking Nkunku versus Smith Rowe, I think that's a relatively easy one. I'd start Smith Rowe. Because they're both probably expected to get, I reckon, 65 to 70 mins. So they've both got very similar expected mins, Smith Rowe and Nkunku. One's got a home fixture. One's got a much better home fixture. So you start the one with the best fixture. And I also think that Smith Rowe, if one of them's going to get benched, I think Nkunku's more likely to be benched than Smith Rowe. So yeah, I'm very jealous of Smith Rowe owners. I'm glad that I do have Maniz because I didn't like having no Fulham attackers, but I think Smith Rowe is fantastic. I know people are talking about the fact that he had 0 XGI in Game Week 1, which isn't ideal, like no expected assist and no expected goals. But there were a few times where he was getting into the box late, and I can just still see him getting returns. It wouldn't stress me out too much if I owned him. What's your thoughts on Solanke to Richarlison? Not for me, because Kulusevski could start as the 9, or we could see Son start as the 9, Johnson on the left, and Kulu on the right. So there are 2 different combinations where Kulu starts instead of Richarlison. I think that could be the case because Kulu was really good in pre-season. So yeah, for me, I wouldn't be picking up Kulu or Richarlison. I mean, it could even be that it's Richarlison, Son, and Kulu, and Johnson misses out because Johnson wasn't very good in Game Week 1. But I just don't know, sadly. Like if we have a leak from someone, great. But as of right now, I'm not interested. OM has become a Raptor 2 member. Thank you very much. Or Om or OM. I'm gonna call you Om. Thank you, Om. Sold Quanza, should I take a -4 to swap Solanke? I need to see the rest of your team, Paul. But in isolation, I would ideally say no. But if you need it, then go for it. I mean, if you need a player, that is, of course. Let me go back to my team. People are asking about the team already. There we go. I love Saturday morning streams. They just feel right. They just feel better. You know, I don't know how to explain it. I'm in a bit of a pickle. Hey, aren't we all? I'll answer that question in a second. Hate had a front three of Maniz, Solanke, Isak. So I guess João Pedro is the one I go for. Also thinking of starting Robinson, Gabriel, and ESR ahead of Nkunku, or just bench one of Gabriel, ESR. There is some part of me which is like, should I start Gabriel instead of Nkunku and play a 4-4-2? But I think there's a little bit of overreaction around Nkunku. So yeah, if you've got Maniz, Solanke, Isak, and Urag, Armstrong, João Pedro, or Chris Wood, I think you have 3 options. But yeah, I probably would go João Pedro in that case. Or, I mean, it sounds like you've got a bit of a benching headache anyway. Just bench Solanke. Right? You could just bench Solanke. And then you don't have to have all this benching headache stuff. Before I make ball jokes, have you got cancer or alopecia? No, but I mean, I kind of appreciate that you're checking that, but also just no, I've just got a bald head. I know, what a super chat to receive. I mean, thanks for the super chat, but Jesus. Benjamin with a super chat, but no message. I'm sorry. Hi, Raptor. I'm in a bit of a pickle. I have Solanke with Ahmad and Anderson on the bench. Oh, yeah, it's a bit of a pickle, isn't it? I'm thinking of starting one of the two to upgrade to Havertz next week, or I can transfer Solanke to Maniz. The thing is, I think Ahmad could start, but I don't know that. I think it's going to... And if he does, he's only getting 60, and Brighton were pretty good. And Anderson, I don't think would have been registered in time. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but the transfer only went through yesterday, and they played today at 3, I think. So I'd be tempted by Solanke to Maniz, in all honesty. But if you really wanted Havertz next week, then maybe you just risk it. If you were to start one of Ahmad or Anderson, I'd start Ahmad. 1.5 million in the bank. Get Watkins for Solanke a week early. I don't love bringing in Watkins against Arsenal. I would probably just play whoever you've got instead or move for someone else. Anderson is not registered in time. Okay, there you go. I didn't think he would be because the transfer only went through yesterday. So I think it's 48 hours. I think that's normally the length of time that you have to register a player before they play. Like if Fulham were playing on Monday, there might have been a chance. But yeah. Anyway, Anderson's going to be great for Fulham. I kind of rate... I also forgot Anderson used to play for Fulham. Yeah, that completely slipped my mind. I was searching for Anderson Fulham pictures to put in a video, and I just saw Anderson in the Fulham kit from like 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, oh yeah, he was on loan there, wasn't he? So yeah, there you go. Maybe he enjoyed his time there. As someone rightly said, I'd prefer to live in Fulham than Croydon, so maybe there was some element of Anderson wanting to live in... Fulham's a very bougie area. MN Chuckster says, hi Ross, due to the Solanke injury, I have to start either Brereton, Diaz or Robinson. Who would you choose? Good luck this week. Love your videos. Thank you so much. Brereton, Diaz or Robinson? Do you know what? I'd start Brereton, Diaz. Nottingham Forest at home. He looks pretty good in game week 1. We know that his data's always pretty strong. His minutes look pretty secure. I'd start Brereton, Diaz. I think Robinson's great if you want to go there, but yeah, that's a very cheeky differential for sure. Smith Rowe versus Murphy. Who is the better selection? Smith Rowe, absolutely. Nah, Smith Rowe. I just think that Murphy, but against Bournemouth away, I think Murphy's minutes will probably be better than Smith Rowe. If I had to guess, Murphy gets 80 to 90 and Smith Rowe gets 65 to 75. So X-Mins are better for Murphy, but it's away. And Bournemouth are a pretty decent defence under Iraola. So, yeah, for me, I'd start Smith Rowe ahead of Murphy for sure. Ross, I've got Lewis Hall. What's your opinions on him? I think he's fine. Yeah, he should start. He's got some attacking threat. It's an okay fixture from a defensive perspective, but without Fabian Schär, I expect them to concede. So I think you're probably hoping for an attacking return in that game and maybe bonus points. Do we think Diallo's going to be involved? I think Ahmad, there's a good chance he starts, but I mean, there are various combos we could go for. It could be Rashi on the left, Garnacho on the right, and Xerxes as the 9. I think Rashford was really poor in game week 1, though, although Ahmad didn't do much either. I think if I had to guess now, I think Ahmad's on the bench, and I think it will be, as I said, Rashford, Xerxes, and Garnacho. That being said, Ten Hag's very slow with easing players into the starting 11. We saw it with Haaland at first, so I have a feeling it could be that Xerxes on the bench again, and if that's the case, it could be Rashford as the 9, Garnacho on the left and Ahmad on the right. But we have seen that Rashford as the 9 just doesn't work. So yeah, it's tough to try and predict. I mean, I'm a United fan, I've still got no idea. I don't want to try and pretend that I do. The one that I would be extremely surprised if he doesn't start is Garnacho. He's now had some minutes. He in the Community Shield when he came on, he looked like our best player. In game week 1 when he came on, he looked like our best player. I think he's our best attacker outside of Bruno, so I think he has to start. So if you're looking for a United player, Garnacho is the one for me. Apparently Xerxes does start. There we go. So if that's true, I've not seen anything reliable. If that's true, then Xerxes, yeah, as the 9, which in which case, unless Rashford's benched, which he could be, then that means Ahmad won't start. Start Ben White or Harwood Bellis. Bloody hell, I'd absolutely start Ben White there. Oh, Ahmad's mother passed during the week. I didn't see that. I'm very sorry. That was insane. I didn't realise, chat. I'm not just ignoring that. I just haven't seen that. Okay, in that case, then absolutely Ahmad's not going to be involved. Unless he wants to throw himself. Like some people deal with that very differently. So maybe he would be, but I'd be very surprised. So yeah, therefore the front 3 will be Rashi, Xerxes, and Garnacho. Which, in my opinion, is probably our best front 3. Cool. Right, let me get back to the super chats. I think Man United could put goals past Brighton, by the way, with that front 3. I was really impressed by Xerxes. Only a short cameo, but just need Rashford to pull his finger out. Gabriel or Ola Aina, and should I stress about no Fulham attack? I wouldn't stress about no Fulham attack. I did feel a little bit bare without having one of them, but it's okay. And I would start Gabriel, because I think Ola Aina's a late fitness doubt. He might not start, and even if he does, I still think Gabriel for me. Because he might not make it to 60 again, especially if he is suffering from a small injury. Marcus says, same dilemma as you, leaning towards saving the transfer and doing Solanke to Watkins and Porro to a 4-5 defender. Yeah, I did think this. So before I made the Muniz transfer, I could have been game week 3 when Villa play against Leicester, done Porro to Pau Torres or Konsa, and then Solanke to Watkins. I just fancied Muniz, is pretty much it. And I like the idea of now having 2 mil in the bank. Yes, I could still go for Watkins in the end, but that 2 mil in the bank could, for example, I could decide that actually I want to go from Robinson to Saliba, or I want to do Henderson to Raya, or I want to do Diogo Jota to Foden. Like 2 mil gives me a lot of flexibility. So I just went there. If you're asking who's the best Villa defender, I would argue it might be Pau Torres, but I think everyone else will say Konsa. So either or, I think Konsa and Pau Torres start every game. I don't think either of them have a massive amount of attacking threat. I just think against West Ham, Power's getting in and involved with a lot of the set pieces. He didn't really have like any major chances, but I feel like Pau Torres is more likely to get you a goal from a corner, is what I would say. So yeah, I would go Pau Torres. Nkunku and Smith Rowe start, or Nkunku, Smith Rowe, and Beniz use a free transfer. Oh, or Nkunku, one of Smith Rowe. Okay, I see what you're saying. No, I would just start Nkunku and Smith Rowe. Yeah, I would. If you are going to do it, you have to bench Nkunku, I think, and you'd start Smith Rowe and Muniz. But I wouldn't buy Muniz to bench Nkunku. I don't feel like that's the best strategy for me. By the way, chat, if you are enjoying the stream, please drop a like and make sure to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 130,000 subscribers before the deadline. We are currently 550 away. So it's a lot. But if for some reason there are a few hundred of you that aren't subscribed and you're watching right now, please do consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Oh, I love a good Saturday morning stream. Friday streams stress me out. I don't know what it is about. It's like the time of day, and I feel like people are more stressed because it's a Friday evening and they've been at work and all of that stuff. So what are your thoughts on Cash? I think Cash will start again, you know. I do. But you might not. You know, they've got other options. Why doesn't anyone have Rashford this year? Because he was awful. Subscribe for Everton to get relegated. I mean, sure. I've got nothing against Everton, but there we go. Hi, Ross. What do I do with Ahmad? Playing a 4-5-1 with Gabriel and Konsa. Shall I take him a hit to get Muniz and upgrade Ahmad to Bernardo? That hit does sound nice, and I don't like the idea of starting Konsa. Or you could just start Ahmad. Yeah, but we're not expecting to get him. That's a tricky position to be in. I do feel like Ahmad was always going to cause issues regardless of the bereavement. There was going to be a point when he didn't get in the 11. I almost prefer doing Ahmad to Rodgers next week, though. I think Rodgers is great for 5 mil. I'd maybe just look to do the Muniz transfer and not the Bernardo transfer, I guess. You Salah owners will get destroyed. Well, to be fair, Salah owners destroyed most Haaland owners in Game Week 1. This is what people aren't going to realise. If Haaland smashes it and Salah doesn't, unless Haaland gets like 5 goals, of course. Let's say Haaland gets 2 or 3 goals, we'll be like, dude, this is why you go with Haaland. But then Salah smashed it in Game Week 1. So, and also going with Salah allowed me to get Saka, Jota, Trent, Porro, Arsenal defence, Solanke, who sadly is injured. Like that's a strong squad, And now, I can't believe I've got this team with 2 mil in the bank. It's crazy stuff. Is Solanke getting a price drop? Yeah, we can check. If you want to check out price drops, by the way, there's a link in the description over at Fantasy Football Hub. This time, I'm not actually selling you anything. You can check check price changes for free, so you don't have to pay. I mean, there is 50% off, of course, if you want to sign up using my link, but this is free. So you literally just go to Fantasy Football Hub, link in the description, go onto the toolbox and go price changes. Tonight, Haaland's going to rise. Looks like this is a prediction, by the way, but they are fairly accurate. So Haaland is likely to rise. Welbeck's likely to rise. In terms of who's likely to drop tonight, Awoniyi, Tarkowski, Elanga, Ola Aina, and Ivan Toney. Gvardiol and Salah are close to a price rise at the moment. That looks like that could be tomorrow. If you want to know Solanke, it looks like it'll be tomorrow as well. So this bar here, if you're trying to check price changes for the first time, this needs to be at minus 100%, and that means that Fantasy Football Hub are predicting a price fall. He's currently at minus 66, and the rate that he's being transferred out is at minus 1.63 per hour. So I think Solanke will drop tomorrow. Actually, I haven't refreshed this in like an hour. Let me refresh it quick, because that might have changed. No, it's still not changed. It's still not tonight. But you see, he's already at minus 69% now, and that's now up at almost minus 2% per hour. That is... Oh, it has changed tonight. Oh, I lied. It's changed to tonight. So yeah, Solanke could change tonight, but obviously not before the deadline. So there we go. But Moniz, I knew last night that Moniz was going to rise because he was up. He was up at over 100%. So, yeah. It's useful to do. They can't predict with 100% accuracy, and it is a prediction, but it saves my bacon so many times. Because if I didn't make the move last night, and I decided I did want to make it this morning, I would have lost 0.1 million. So, I would get into the habit of checking price changes every night before you make your moves. Make it your little ritual. But yeah, there is a link in the description if you want to check that out. The GOAT. Bench Gordon or Smith Rowe? Gordon. I wouldn't bench Smith Rowe in a million years. I have him ahead of pretty much every other asset. That's not a jinx or anything. I swear. It's just... that's why I bought Moniz. I think it's a great fixture. And I also think Smith Rowe is being disregarded just because... he had a slightly slow first game. I also think Man United dominated that game. That's not bias. It's like Man United just put in a very good performance overall. So I think Fulham struggled a little bit as a result. If Fulham struggle against Leicester and they don't put in a great performance against Ipswich, then maybe we just reassess and say, at the moment, based on what we know, Fulham aren't the best attack. But I think we need... It's similar to what I said with Nkunku. Nkunku had a tricky first fixture against City. You can't now say Nkunku's a good or bad asset based off that. Fulham had a relatively tricky fixture against United, especially, obviously, away against Manchester United. So it's difficult to assess if Smith Rowe's good or bad just on that one performance. Ski Blord says, wildcarded this week, Flecken, Hall, Robinson, Livramento. Livramento could be a very cheeky pick based on Trippier wanting to leave. Eze, Smith Rowe, Saka, Salah, Wood, Isak, Haaland, bench of Harwood, Rodgers, Konsa. What are your thoughts? I wouldn't go for not Liverpool. Let me try again. I wouldn't go for 2 Newcastle defenders. I don't love Chris Wood as a pick. I think he'll lose his place in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I hate that defence overall because it's so weak. I understand you've got Salah and Haaland. I wouldn't have both and I'd drop one. Because what I think you're going to realise very quickly is from game week 6, you're going to want an Arsenal defender. And so getting an Arsenal defender is going to be very tough. In fact, if I was wildcarding this week, I'd probably want Raya and Gabriel and Saka. Or Havertz. I'd want triple Arsenal. I know their fixture over the next 2 or 3 aren't great, but from game week 6, you are going to want so many Arsenal assets. You're going to want like 10 of them. They've got Leicester at home and Southampton at home in game week 6 and 7. So for me, I would want at least another Arsenal asset. And I don't like a defense of 4.5 defenders. It's just not strong enough for me. So there we go. I would change Wood out if it was my team, and I would also add an Arsenal defender in there. I'd want Trent as well, for what it's worth. But then I'm just building my team, right? I would want Trent and Arsenal defender, and I wouldn't want Haaland or Salah. I'd pick one. Hi, Ross. Starting Nkunku or Robinson. Love the content. Thank you very much. I would start Nkunku. Solanke and Ahmad to Havertz and Winks, and take the -4. Okay. Or start Mikalenko and use free transfers for Havertz. Ooh. I would probably just use the free transfers. I don't like that hit overall, especially when one of them's to bring in Winks. Also, unless you've got money in the bank, you can't afford that because Havertz rose in price. But let's say you do have money in the bank. I still don't think I'd take that hit. Would you risk playing Ahmad, Martinez first bench? I would, but by the sounds of it, he's not going to be involved. But yeah, I would probably just start Ahmad because I don't think United keep a clean sheet here at all against Brighton. So yeah, I'd risk playing Ahmad. And if he doesn't get any minutes, then you get Martinez. Gordon to Maddison, free transfer. No, not for me. Drop on Quansah hurts. Yeah, that is painful, isn't it? Like I said, there was a risk associated, but I didn't think it would be that quick that he'd lose his place. Only have 2 playable strikers for a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2. Which 2 of 4 do I start? Gabriel, Rogers, Mikalenko, Quansah. Sell Mikalenko. Heard he's likely to drop as well. Please help. So yeah, obviously Gabriel definitely starts. I'd probably start Gabriel and Rogers in a 3-5-2 if that was my team. Because Gabriel was great, and I think Rogers, whilst he directly conflicts with Gabriel, if Villa score, Rogers has a decent chance of being involved. You could sell Mikalenko, but I don't know why you would. I know Everton weren't great in Game Week 1, but Brighton are a fantastic attack. I just don't know how much has changed that would make you want to suddenly sell Mikalenko, apart from them being battered in one game. But do you remember last year we saw Villa lost 5-1, was it, to Newcastle in Game Week 1? And then Villa went on to finish top 4. Right? Game Week 1 doesn't tell us the entire story. And also, like, a performance in Game Week 1 isn't always representative of what we see moving forward. Start Zinchenko or Garnacho? Garnacho for me. Porro, Saliba, Robinson, Trent, Davis defence. Bowen, Salah, Bruno, Ahmad, Mavadidi midfield. Kai, Isak, Solanke up front with 1 mil in the bank. A hit of Solanke and Ahmad to Garnacho and Muniz and play 3-4-3. Yeah, I do feel like you kind of need to make transfers there because you've got a few issues, Shaunak, so I quite like that as a hit overall. I don't really want to be taking hits at this time, but there we go. Start Minte or Nkunku between 2 ferns with Raptor. I replaced the ferns. Everyone kept saying it was between 2 ferns. It's outrageous. No. Those ferns were looking quite dead as well, so I did actually replace the plants. Start Minte or Nkunku. Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it? Nkunku for me. I know you'll say don't do it, but I can see you pick a full free hit team for this week only, please. Can you see? Oh, I'm not going to do it now because, again, I wouldn't recommend it, and I think there's very few that will. But in terms of what I would do, I would have Triple City, and it would be Haaland, Foden, and Gvardiol. So there you go, there's 3. I would have Muniz. I would have Smith Rowe. I would have... If you can squeeze Salah in, great. If not, have Trent. I would still have probably Pedro Porro. I'd maybe be willing to bet against Isak. Not because I think Isak's bad, but on a free hit you want to differentiate. So maybe you go for like a Chris Wood against Southampton. I think for me, you can do whatever you want with the free hit as long as you've got Triple City. I think that's the only key thing for me is you have Haaland, you have Gvardiol, and you have Foden. Or you go absolutely all out and go like KDB, Foden, Haaland and go for triple attack. I don't mind that. Pokeball93 has become a Rap Tier 1 member. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I have Quansah, Solanke, Winks, Anderson, and double Arsenal defence. My team's a mess. What top 3 transfers would you recommend? Thinking Trent for a -4. Double Arsenal defence is fine. I think solve your issues, in all honesty. But something like Solanke, you can't do that now, though. Unless you, maybe like Solanke to João Pedro Armstrong and Quansah to Gvardiol. Or something like that. I just think I wouldn't be making like multiple transfers. I think go through and prioritize who are the biggest issues in your team and sort out and removing them is the way I would probably approach it. Bench 1 of Muniz, Bruno, Smith Rowe, or Havertz. Oh, that is rough. That is really rough. I think it's probably Smith Rowe or Muniz. I think you bench one of. I don't think you want to bench Bruno or Havertz really. So I think it's Smith Rowe or Muniz, and probably based on minutes. Neither of them have great minutes, but probably Muniz will get an extra 10, you'd expect. What is Miss Raptor's team? Same as last week at the moment. She's got the same team as me, but she has Haaland and Smith Rowe, and I have Muniz and Salah. I know who I would prefer this week. Mohamed Salah. I would definitely not.
I'm doing the Haaland meme.
I would definitely prefer... Listen, I'm a very honest man. I would absolutely love to have Haaland this week. But it's not all about week by week. Salah draft, thinking of punting Burn to Rico Lewis. As long as you don't need him every week, because otherwise you're just creating issues in your team. I don't mind it, but I've seen people with like Harwood, Bellis, and Barco on the bench bringing in Rico Lewis, and I'm like, you're just creating further issues for yourself. Camera's gone. People are like, if you're not sorted the camera. Listen, I tried. I ordered an expensive computer. I tried setting up the camera. The camera wouldn't work with the computer. I couldn't get a camera to work, so I sold the computer, went back to my old computer. It's been a whole faff, you know? Listen, it's part of the charm, all right? No complaining here. Trent Munoz, Robinson, Hall. Which 3 to start? Is that working? Yes. I would bench Lewis Hall and I'd start Trent Munoz and Robinson. Glory Maynard says, Mikalenko is 66.1% likely to drop. Roll or sell Mikalenko for Robinson now, or hope Mikalenko stays at 4.5 and sell for a 4 million defender next week and Rodgers to Smith Rowe next week. I don't like any of that, mate, because like I'd rather Rodgers than Smith Rowe from next week. Rodgers goes on a really nice run of fixtures. His minutes seem to be pretty good. And I just don't know, why are you selling Mikalenko? What has changed? That like you started the season with Mikalenko. Why do you now want to sell him, other than they conceded 3 goals to Brighton? We all knew that wasn't a fantastic fixture against Brighton, so I don't know what's changed. So I would say leave him. But if you're desperate, I would go for Robinson now. Will you get Manchester United's starting lineup leak again? I think there's a very good chance we get bits and pieces, yeah. But in all honesty, I can tell you the lineup probably based on what we know. I don't know who you want to know, but I think I could guess pretty well now. Hello, Ross, Egg, and Pickle. Big love. Thank you very much. Pickle gave you a little smile. Is it a bad idea to sell Saka for Foden this week? Is it a bad idea to sell Saka for Foden? Yes, but I don't want to put you off completely. I think there are worse transfers out there. I mean, I'm a massive Saka fanboy, but I have to rein that in and remember that he's not essential, and Foden could outscore him this week. I just think in the long term, Saka is for me a better asset than Foden, which is why I started the season with him. Taking your advice and captain to Trent over Palmer. If Liverpool concede, just know I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Listen, Brentford are a good attack. There's a good chance they do concede. But with Trent, you also have the attacking return potential. Yeah, exactly. I just feel like Trent's got really high upside, because if he keeps a clean sheet, you're looking at bonuses quite likely. He created so many chances last week. It's at Anfield. I feel a big score coming for Trent in the next 4 weeks. Hopefully not against Man United. But I can see a 12 to 15, 18 pointer coming for him soon. He's just got that. If you watch the second half, it was just different gravy when he's on the ball when he's in that mood and he's got that space. I do fully expect, by the way, that Brentford will do something to combat that. They're going to have seen what happened against Ipswich in that second half and say, we need to put a man on Trent. But he will still find a way, because you can't man mark a player for the entire game, especially the positions that Trent picks up. You're sacrificing a lot as a team to man mark him. You're losing a midfield player, or you're losing support out wide. And what happens is, if Trent drifts centrally, and we're just talking football at this moment, not FPL, but if you put a man central like on Trent, let's say it's whoever they've got at left wing, well then that person comes central, and what that means is that Salah's out on the right. If Szoboszlai then goes out there, you've got a double up against one player. So then that player that's man marking Trent has to decide, do I want to drift out and support Salah, which leaves the space for Trent to support whoever's defending Salah, or do I want to stay on Trent? Equally, if they then put a midfield player on Trent, well, all of a sudden then the likes of Szoboszlai and McAllister have more space. So I feel like there's no good way to completely man mark Trent out of the game. So I still think he'll get opportunities, basically. Football. I love having football back, man. Match of the day. Nothing hits quite like it. I'm excited to watch Match of the Day today and just be like, oh, yeah, see, Haaland was lucky to get his 5 points, but I'm still happy, you know? Oh, God, I'm shredding it. I want to cry. I don't want to be here. Please, Haaland, please be kind to me. Will Ahmad start against Brighton? I think the consensus is probably not, no. Can we do a captaincy poll? Yeah, sorry. So on the Robinson versus Gabriel, 65% think I should start Robinson, 35% Gabriel, which is what I expected. It's because everyone owns Robinson and not many own Gabriel. But also, I do agree that I think Robinson edges it at the moment. Right, let's run a captaincy poll. So we'll do a Haaland red card, anyone? When I say I would be overly excited, I wouldn't be. I would be probably cancelled, demonetized, everything, all of the above, for how happy I would be in my transfer plans video. Manise just went up in price. He went up last night. By the way, some people seem to think that price changes happen like throughout the day. Price changes happen at 2:30 a.m. BST or 1:30 a.m. GMT, and it always confuses me when the clocks change because I never know which one I'm in. But at the moment, it's 2:30 a.m. So yeah, he changed at 2:30 a.m. But when I went to sleep at about midnight, I knew that he was going to rise, so I transferred him out. So anyway, right. So who are you captaining for game week 2? I'm going to do Haaland, like normal captain. Haaland triple captain. Thoughts on Vardy? Yeah, we said Vardy's fine, in all honesty. Haaland triple captain. Salah or other? Comment. There you go. I've just put a poll in the chat. Vote on that poll. Who are you captaining? There is a normal Haaland option, a Haaland triple captain option, and then a Salah and other. By the way, I would imagine that Salah will be higher in my chat than he would be in a normal chat, simply because I have Salah. So I think if you're on a Salah-only draft, you're probably watching my live stream. Well, I would imagine most of them are anyway, because there's that association, you know? Jake says, Solanke to Mateta as I missed the price rise of Manise and don't have Eze. Or I wouldn't let the price change now affect who you move to. If you still think Manise is better than Mateta, I would go for Manise. I think Mateta, I mean, we haven't really spoken about Mateta, but I think Solanke to Mateta is an absolutely fine move. And Mateta's been a little bit forgotten about just because he didn't get more than 45 in game week 1. But I think overall, Mateta's still a really solid option. Glory Man United says, worry to sell because both Quansah and Mikalenko are going to 4.4 because of two only strikers stuck at 3-5-2 or 4-4-2 always. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, maybe Mikalenko to Robinson makes sense then, mate. Just to avoid having a price fall on two defenders that you then can't move. So yeah, maybe in this situation, Mikalenko to Robinson works. Lovely, sexy Eggman. Who to start between Nkunku, Smith Rowe and João Pedro? You can only start one of them. If you can only start one Smith Rowe, you can start two. I would say just about Smith Rowe and Nkunku. But I think João Pedro is great as well. Bench 1 of Robinson, Jacob Murphy, Rico Lewis. Bench 1. Oh, probably just about Robinson. I'd definitely start Rico Lewis. If you didn't move for Manise, what would you do today? In all honesty, if I hadn't moved for Manise, I'd probably play a 4-5-1. Like, I could have played Gabriel instead of Solanke and just benched Solanke, but I wanted Manise, so that I made the move. I've been speaking about the fact that this isn't to put you off rolling transfers, and I think largely rolling transfers usually is a good thing because it gives you more information. And you're more flexible with 2 or 3 transfers than you are 1. I do think, however, though, that the fact that we can now roll up to 5 free transfers, lots of us are going to get stuck in our mind like we can't make transfers, we can't be aggressive because we want to keep rolling and try and get to 5. It could, if Manise scores 2 or 3 goals this week, it was absolutely worth the transfer, right? Equally, rolling might have worked out, but I don't think we should roll just for the sake of it. Is Son to KDB/Foden a good move? Not for me. If it's for free, I don't mind it. For a hit, I definitely wouldn't. I would just keep Son, though, and I'd roll in that case. Solanke to Haaland, Saka to Winks. Already owns Salah. No, I absolutely hate that. I'm sorry. I really don't like that. You say you're betting on Haaland outscoring Saka over the next 4, but surely you've then got to start someone else, right? Because you're not starting Winks. So it's Saka and whoever you would have brought in for Solanke versus Haaland and whoever you would have played instead of Winks, if that makes sense. Like, it's difficult to... Overall, I don't like that. I don't like the idea of selling Saka. I think if people were going to get FOMO around Haaland, they should have just started with Haaland. This is what I tried saying in Game Week 1. I said, if you're going to get FOMO around having no Haaland in Game Week 2, just start with Haaland. I knew that whilst there's going to be FOMO, I'm happy enough dealing with that, I guess. Start Garnacho or Nkunku. Nkunku for me. If you want to know, by the way, I'll just flash this up on your screen. You can pause the stream or screenshot it. This is roughly what I would say in terms of bench order. It's very fluid, though. Like, some of these are so close, you know. It's very difficult to say that there's like a clear standout. But in terms of start and bench, this is roughly what I would have it as. I always tend to favour attackers rather than defenders, unless someone like Pedro Porro is very high, because he basically plays as like a number 8 or a number 10 for Spurs at the moment. So he's going to be up there because he's an attacker that's listed as a defender almost. Who are your top 3 captaincy options if you don't own Salah or Haaland? Probably like Foden, Trent, Porro. I think the defenders might have higher upside than some of the attackers this week. Yeah, Foden slash KDB, Trent, Porro would be my top 3. If Palmer was fit, and I knew he was fit, there would be some temptation there. I mean, Heung-min Son's not awful as well as a choice. You look like Pascal Seigan? I don't even know who that is. Let me check. Pascal. Yeah, I see that. To be fair, he's just a bald man, but I see it. Should I drop Gordon for Doku? No, not for me. Transferred out Solanke for Watkins for his upcoming good run of games, looking at the long game. Yeah, I like that. I think from next week, a lot of people are going to want Watkins, so getting in there ahead of time isn't an awful decision at all. By the way, if you are enjoying today's stream, as I said earlier, I'm trying to hit 130,000 subscribers. We are less than 500 away now. So if you could like the stream, but also consider subscribing, I would really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Loads of content every week, by the way. Not only the deadline stream, but deadline decisions, transfer plans, game week preview, team selection. I also upload short form content on YouTube as well. If you want to go onto my channel and look at the shorts, there's loads of stuff. So yeah, do consider subscribing. I have Palmer, but not sure about him long term. My Chelsea bias had me buy him, but is Saka or Foden better? Saka and Foden, I think, probably are slightly better. Gibbs White, I think you're fine keeping for now. I think keep Palmer for now. I mean, there are concerns that he might not be fit for game week 2 because he was clutching his hamstring after their game on Thursday. But I think you probably keep Palmer for now. I don't think there are many players, unless they've been completely dropped or they are confirmed injured, that I'd want to really sell in game week 2. I don't know we have enough information. I would not in a million years have made a transfer if Solanke was fine. I looked at my team, it was absolutely okay. I was going to roll. I was forced into it almost because Solanke got injured. 4 Fulham assets because of Anderson. Are they playable? Anderson won't start today, I don't think. I don't think he was registered in time. So yes, they are all playable long term. The issue that you'll have if you had triple Fulham plus Anderson is that next time you want to make a transfer, they'll force you to remove one of the Fulham players, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it is a little bit frustrating because then that forces your hand with your next move. Bench one of Nkunku, Gordon, or Robinson. Robinson just about for me. Listen, Robinson's fine as a pick. I think he's great. I'm starting him, but I think we're blowing it out of proportion a little bit. If I click on his history from last year, it's just here I'm looking. So last year he had 37 starts and played almost 3,300 minutes. He had 6 assists, which is great. So 1 assist every 6 to 7 games. But he only had 3.75 expected assist. So if he got about 4 expected assists, that means every 9 to 10 games you're expecting an assist from him. The season before that, he had 35 starts, again over 3,000 minutes, and he had 1.75 expected goal involved. We're probably looking at a return from Robinson every 8 to 10 games. He's fine as an option, but you're not expecting him to go out there and get goals and assists all the time. Whereas with the likes of Murphy and Nkunku, Smith Rowe, I just can't justify playing defenders ahead of him, especially when his chance for a clean sheet probably isn't particularly high. I don't expect many clean sheets this season at all for Fulham. Probably we're looking at a clean sheet once maximum probably every 4 to 5 games. So you're going to get a clean sheet from him once every 4 to 5 games and an attacking return once every 7 or 8 games if you're lucky. He's a fine option, but I don't think we should blow out of proportion what these players can do for us, if that makes sense. How much game time do you think Mateta will get? I think he'll get close to 90 this week. He played in the Olympics. He's had a bit of a rest. He played 45. Unless he's got some sort of injury that he's carrying, I think Mateta gets probably 80 minutes. Similar team to you, but 91 points last week. Wow, brilliant. Why isn't a free hit a good idea, given the lack of double game weeks and mystery chip? Look at my team, right? And it's similar to yours. Where is this team lacking other than Haaland? And if you say, well, it is lacking Haaland, Haaland would have to score for me with captaincy 40 plus points, which he could do. He could score 20 plus points in a single game. And Salah would have to blank for me to think that's a good use of the free hit. Because a free hit for me should gain you 30 to 40 points. If your free hit outscores my team by 30 to 40, then you've played a blinder. The other thing is, yes, there are only 2 doubles, but there will be at least 1 blank game week. And I think a free hit is very good to cover blanks as well. So for me, I still think the free hit's better used elsewhere. Or use the free hit in a week where your team looks awful. There are going to be some weeks, game week, I think it's game week 3, actually, where my team looks stinky. I think Chelsea play against Palace, and I've got 3 assets there. Liverpool play against United, I've got 3 there. Spurs have Newcastle, and I've got 2 there. Next week, my team looks an absolute mess. I almost feel like that's a better week to free hit when your team doesn't look good. So I really don't like free hit this week. I'm not a fan of it at all. Unless your team is an absolute state. But I think if your team's a state, then I'd rather just wildcard and get your team sorted. Do you think Foden will start? Yeah, I do. Mario or Saliba? Saliba. Should I still transfer Solanke for Moniz, even though Moniz's price has gone up? I think if you still really believe in him, then yeah, do it. But otherwise, no. Minter and Nkunku for me. Any Palmer news? We've not had an update as of right now, no, sadly. Would João Pedro out and Welbeck in be risky? Yeah, I wouldn't make that move. I think João Pedro is a better asset than Welbeck for me. Start Gusto or Hall? Oh, that's a tough one. I'd be tempted by Gusto, you know. Although he did play pretty poor in game week 1, so I think he's still nailed for now. I'd probably start Gusto, genuinely. Has Ross talked about Armstrong? I think he's fine. His minutes seem pretty secure. He should be on penalties. The fixtures are okay. I do still think that he has never proven himself in the Prem. He's had 2 excellent seasons in the Championship and 1 very poor, in my opinion, season in the Prem where he didn't do much. I kind of do worry. I hate the term Championship striker, but there are some forwards that just can't really deliver in the Prem. And maybe that's not him, right? Patrick Bamford looked really good at points in the Prem. I'm trying to think of other examples. There are strikers that have gone from the Championship to the Prem and done a very, very good job. But often it doesn't always transfer that way. Nkunku or Smith Rowe? I would start Smith Rowe ahead of Nkunku for sure. Start Hall or Rodgers? I'd probably start Hall in that case. Hi, Ross. Pick 2 from Gabriel, Harwood Bellis, Hudson-Odoi. Good luck this week. The Gabriel and Hudson-Odoi. I'd bench Harwood Bellis. If you have to start Harwood Bellis this week, it's fine, by the way. Could keep clean sheet. You never know from set pieces, but he wouldn't be high up on my list. Legendary Swansea's Michu. Oh, Michu was so good in FPL, wasn't he? Wow. Wow. I've only got an hour till the deadline. Get those teams, not locked in, but get those teams set up ready. By the way, if you want an update on the captaincy poll and you're not looking at the chat, in my chat, and again, it will be slightly skewed towards Salah, 45% are captaining Haaland, 14% are triple captaining, and 36% are captaining Salah. If you want a more accurate poll, I know these are people following me on Twitter, but at the same time, Twitter's not just people following me, and I think people would follow me on Twitter even if they are captaining Haaland. So I feel like this poll is probably slightly more reliable. It's almost had 8,000 votes. Haaland at 54%, Salah at 24%, Haaland triple captain at 17%. I think that is a more reliable view. So I think something like 1 in 6 to 7 managers are looking to triple captain Haaland. And I think half of managers are captaining Haaland. I think Haaland's ownership will be in amongst engaged managers. And what I mean by that is managers that aren't going to forget about their team and are just picking for fives. Like managers that are going to play all year quite seriously. I think Haaland is owned by about 75. I think he's captained by half, pushing him up to like 150. And I think there is a triple captaincy element of like 20%. I think Haaland's ownership maybe be like 180%. And that means that if you own him and don't captain him, you're losing 80% of your points. It means if you captain Haaland this week, you are gaining 20% of his points. So if Haaland scores 20 points, you are gaining 4 points, roughly. And if you triple captain him, you're gaining 120% of his points. That would be my rough estimate. Which basically means if you own and captain Haaland, you not that you don't care if he smashes it this week, but it's not gaining you much rank, apart from you are gaining over people like me that don't own him. So I guess you still want him to do well. Salah, I expect. So Salah's about 50 to 60% owned, captained by 20%. I think Salah's ownership will be like 85, 90%. So I think if you own Salah and don't captain him, you'll still gain points from him. Anyway, that's me geeking out over what I think will happen there. Let me go back to my team. Robinson or Conser? Robinson for me. Haaland 5-pointer, we will be there. We will not be there because it's not happening. In all honesty, my prediction is either 13 or 16 points. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think he gets more than that. I think he'll get 2 goals or 2 goals, 1 assist. At which case, that's like right on the borderline of, ouch, that hurts, but that's not ruined my season. I think if he gets 3 goals and above, major damage there. At that stage, I'm in pain. No Man United leaks at the moment, but I'll keep my eye on the stuff. And obviously, if in the chat you see anything, let me know. Please geek out more on ineffective ownership. Yeah, fully geeking out. So there's my estimate. We'll discuss on... I'll post on Twitter if it was correct. But yeah, Salah 90, Haaland about 180, maybe 170. I did think he might push 200, but I think a lot of Salah owners are holding firm. I thought a lot of Salah owners would panic, so maybe it'd be more like 170, 180. One more from me. Worried about Solanke's price drop. Would you rather play Brereton Diaz and roll the transfer or switch Solanke to Mateta now? Nothing in the bank, so wouldn't have enough cash to get him next week. Thanks. If it was me, I would just play Brereton Diaz. I actually think Brereton Diaz is a better pick than Mateta this week. I understand what you mean. Like, Solanke will be 7.4 before the next deadline, for sure. Maybe 7.3. Probably not 7.3. Maybe. But I still feel like I don't think Mateta is that great that you've got to get him in this week. Big up, Ross. Start to a Robinson, Gabriel, Hall. I'd bench Hall there and I'd start Robinson and Gabriel. Bench one of Munoz, Saliba, João Pedro. Oof. Oh, God. I wouldn't bench João Pedro. It'd be Munoz or Saliba. I'd probably bench Saliba there. I don't like that, though. Why no HD quality stream? It's just a little bit easier on my PC to stream in 720. And I don't think streaming in 180 does much more for viewership. Sorry if it does, but 720 you can still clearly see my team and my face. You don't want to see me in any more high definition anyway. It's quite a rough. I'm thinking wildcard, but I'm going to let it ride. If Haaland pops off, well, I'll look like a mug. Yeah. Won't we all? Won't we all? Honestly, I'm going to upload a transfer plans video tomorrow. If you're not yet subscribed, subscribe, because if Haaland smashes it, my transfer plans video tomorrow, you can all laugh at me. If Haaland doesn't smash it, then you're going to see a very smug look on my face. So listen, either way, you're going to want to watch. I'm actually not smug. I promise. Not too smug anyway. I won't be annoying, I promise. Genuinely, I won't. Because if Haaland blanks or if Haaland gets a low score, I will count myself very lucky. I won't say that was good management. I wouldn't say that Haaland owners did poorly. I would say I got very lucky. So that was it. How effed am I without Haaland or Salah? Oh, extremely. No, you could do well. You could do well. You never know. Captain Meunier, trust, maybe. If Haaland blanks, my strategy is screwed. This is it. For anyone that started with Haaland, no Salah, and are now triple captaining Haaland, not only does it benefit me if he doesn't do well, but like that's a really bad start to the season, isn't it, right? Because you've got a 15 million or 15.1 by tomorrow million asset that's not done a lot, but I think he will. I think this is all very hypothetical. What do you think of a 1 hour stream on a Sunday after the games like Andy does instead of a video? Yeah, I've thought about it. Sometimes I'm not available to stream straight away because I spend the weekend with my girlfriend. And also, like, sometimes I don't want to just jump straight on a stream. I might need a bit of time to relax. And also, I really enjoy the transfer plans video. It's one of my top performing videos, but one of the videos I enjoy the most because it's like just immediate reaction, get on there and talk about stuff. So, yeah, I've thought about it. I did one before, and there weren't many people in the stream. People didn't enjoy the stream as much. They just wanted to watch a video. So maybe I'll do a mixture. Maybe in the future, maybe I could do like a stream on a Sunday morning at some point. You never know. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow morning. Who knows? Maybe I could do a Sunday morning stream. Would anyone like a Sunday morning stream where I can cry about what Haaland did the day before and talk about how... Do you know what? If Haaland scores less than 3, we could do a stream tomorrow. If Haaland scores more than 3, there is absolutely zero chance of you seeing my face tomorrow morning.
You'll be in hiding.
Exactly. One problem is that FPL Harry has Haaland and Harry always nails it. I don't know if he nails it or just is the luckiest man that's ever existed, but there we go. Transfer plans is goated. Yeah, people do enjoy that video. Smug on the inside. It's going to be like, you know, that. Trying to not smile. This is all such a ridiculous hypothetical situation to talk about, so let's just ignore it and just accept that Haaland is going to do unspeakable things to me. Buy Saka or Foden for the next 3. Foden. Yeah, I'd rather have Foden than Saka. I wouldn't sell Saka for Foden, but if you're going to only own one for the next 3 weeks, I would absolutely prefer to have Foden. Maniz for Solanke, missed the price, 0.5 in the bank. If you've got a team like mine, no. I would just, like I said, I could have just played Gabriel and played a 4-5-1. So I think if you've missed that price change, don't let it completely put you off Maniz, but I don't think you need to then make that move. Unless you've got no cover, in which case you just go for it. Don't worry, Haaland this week is all fart no poo. Haaland is never all fart no poo. Haaland has IBS. Haaland's got terrible poos. He's always pooing. This is the weirdest analogy I've ever had. Josh Harding says, hey Ross, got Son, and based on his position last game week, I'm tempted to move to Foden, but without Solanke, is it likely he returns to a more central position? I think more likely is Kulusevski or Richarlison as the 9 and Son on the left still, but there is a chance, and the good thing is he'll definitely be on pens. I would keep Son. But I do think that Kulusevski is more likely to play as the 9, if I had to guess. Because he did it very well in pre-season. Even though... The only thing is, Ange Postecoglou did comment on the fact that he doesn't see Richarlison as a number 9. So will he trust him in a Premier League game? I don't know. But they've got Richarlison as well. Who he did say in the press conference is fit enough to start. Hey, lovely man. Hello, Mr. Zodiac. Almost 24 months you've been a member. Wow. Would you start Minte or Wood, and why? Thanks for last week's Discord call. Helped me a lot. I'm 68k. Yeah, I saw you're top of the Raptor Mini League. Would I start Minte or Wood? I'd play the fixture. I think they've both got very similar minutes, probably around 70 for both. I'd play the fixture and I'd go Chris Wood. But I think you could definitely... I mean, I like the fact that Minte's at home, but yeah, fixture-wise, Wood's the one for me. Start Mikalenko or take a hit. Lewis for Quansah. For a hit, I would just play Mikalenko, but yeah, if it was for free, I'd definitely be looking to replace them. And I mean, Lewis could definitely pay that back. I will just say, last week, Lewis got into some very good positions, right? But if I look at his data, let's just go over to Hub, up to stats. Lewis's data last week was nothing. 0.01 expected assists and 0 expected goals. I mean, Lewis had didn't create any chances and didn't get any chances himself. Like, for me, that... He got into some good positions, but is it going to be a case where Lewis doesn't quite get far enough forward into the vital positions to create? Or was that more to do with Chelsea having a very solid team? I think Chelsea performed okay in that game, really. So many people are trash-talking Chelsea. I thought they were okay. So, I don't know. Lewis is fine, but... yeah. We'll see. We won't geek out on the stats at the moment. Like I said, there is... I think it's either this week... Probably next week will be the final week you can get 50% off from Hub. So if it's one of those where you've been thinking about getting access to Fantasy Football Hub, I think they offer a free trial. Don't quote me on that. But have a look when you sign up. And obviously they do 50% off. So yeah, I would give it a go. There is a link down below in the description. Eventually that discount will either completely go or it will drop. They won't do 50% off all season because they would be probably losing money. So there you go. Start Wood or ESR. Just about Smith Rowe for me. Nkunku or Rico Lewis / Burn or Rico Lewis to start. I'd start Nkunku and Rico Lewis. Yeah. Which option would you prefer? Got 1 million in the bank. Solanke to Maniz. I like that. Solanke to Havertz. I also like that. Smith Rowe to Doku. Don't like that. Roll and play João Pedro. Quite like that. I'd roll and play João Pedro. But if you are to move him, I would probably go Havertz. If you've got the money, it's a great transfer. So I would probably say roll and play JP. Solanke to Havertz, Solanke to Maniz, Smith Rowe to Doku in that order. I have no City. Bruno to Silva or Doku, no. No. Don't... Listen, I know you've got no City sounds horrible, but bringing in Doku or Bernardo Silva, that's not changing the fact that you have no Haaland and Gvardiol, right? You still don't have a good City asset or the better City asset. How much is Fantasy Football Hub per month? It works out if you sign up to the annual membership at £3.25 per month. Like I say, use the link in the description to get the 50% off. But, yeah, it's this one here. £3.25 per month if you're billed yearly. If you go monthly, you don't get the 50% off, and it works out really expensive. So they are encouraging, /Fulton, they're encouraging you to sign up to the annual one, but Yeah, so it's a one-off fee, but it works out as £3.25 per month. I would just go for the middle one. I mean, you can go for the expensive one if you want to. I would just go middle down the road. Mr. Raptor, I need your help. That is why I'm here, Jay. Was planning on moving Solanke to Maniz, but missed the price rise. Will that screw me up later? Do I risk it and getting a forward that hasn't seen a price rise? Pedro Armstrong, Ahmad, or Smith Rowe? Thanks. It's such a difficult one because my heart's telling me if you love Maniz, just go Maniz because you still have the money. But as you say, like that would then leave you rather than 2 mil in the bank. Sorry, rather than 1.5 in the bank, it leaves you 1.4 in the bank, which could influence future moves. I think I would still be willing to do it if you've got your heart set on Maniz. If you're like, I really want Maniz, go for it. But if you were never that sure on Maniz anyway, yeah, I'd probably go for like a João Pedro or Armstrong. And then that would give you 2 mil in the bank, which could be really useful. Regarding Ahmad or Smith Rowe, it's comfortably Smith Rowe for me. Absolutely Smith Rowe. But thank you for the big super chat, Jay. I appreciate your support every week, mate. Hi, Ross. Solanke, Bruno out. Havertz, Watkins, Eze in. I don't like removing Bruno, so I'm going to say no, mate. I'm going to say no. Bye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the stream. See you later, Lukey boy. Have a fantastic game week. Start Mateta or Saliba. That's a really interesting one. I'd probably say Mateta. I do just prefer to start attackers if you can. Would be the way I would view that. I have Barco and Solanke both. Who do I get? I wouldn't... Unless you need to start Barco, I would just focus on Solanke for now. I don't think... Just tuck Barco on your bench for most people. Did you make the Maniz transfer before the price rise? Yeah, you can see here I've got 2 million in the bank. I mean, I can't believe I've got this team. This team doesn't look like it should have anything in the bank when I look at it. It's just looking really nice and solid. I mean, I don't have any City players, which is is a huge issue, I guess. But I made the move last night at transfer history. You can check. I made the move at 18 past 10. It was at this point. It was at this point that he knew he'd know. It was at this point that you could see quite clearly that Maniz was predicted to rise in price. So I didn't want to risk it. So, yeah. What do we think? What rank do we think I'll finish at this year, chat? So, last 3 years, 35k, 10k, 29k. The year before that was 129k. This was when I started playing FPL seriously. Although this season I wasn't very good. This was when I created my YouTube channel this year. So since creating my YouTube channel, we've finished 35, 10, 29. I cannot believe this year I was 0 points off the top 10k. I missed out on a top 10k finish based on transfers made. I made one more transfer than those that finished top 10k. Painful. 1 point would have got me in the... Or one less transfer would have got me in. Where do we think I'll finish this year? 35, 10, 29. You're going to all say like 5 million because I've got no Haaland, but... Henderson or Raya? Oh, that's a great question. I would always... No, would I? Yeah, I'd still start David Raya, I think. Top 10k, 10k, 27k, 20... I feel like it will be like another like 25 to 30k kind of finish. Probably. I feel like to get beyond that, I probably don't play safe enough. And also, I think you have to get a bit lucky as well at that point. 30k. Need the best FPL YouTubers help. That's me. No, it's not really. Is it worth a -4 hit to get Solanke out for Maniz or Armstrong? Depends on the rest of your team, mate. I can't advise, sadly, without knowing the entire team. But generally, I would try to avoid a hit if you can. Most of you saying nice stuff. And then DJ Hammer just says 10 mil. Thoughts on Jacob Murphy? He's fine. He should start this week. He's okay to start if you need to. Not doing for this game week, but would you do Solanke to Havertz before the price drop tonight for game week 3? I have Maniz and Isak. Oh, that's so tricky. Making a transfer before loads of teams have played and then an entire week. If you're set on Havertz, then yes. Oh, I hate that, though. That's so early. I mean, there's early and then there's that. I would still probably do it Shazam, but I don't feel great about that because anything could happen. Not only to Solanke and Havertz, like Solanke might miraculously be back, Havertz could get injured, but also, like if, for example, Salah picked up an injury or something like that, when all of a sudden your plan might change altogether. You might want to go for an Erdegaard instead, or you might decide actually you want to shift the funds to Haaland. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult because so many things could happen that change your plan. Why no City cover? I'm a broken record, but City cover doesn't exist. Me owning Bernardo Silva doesn't mean that I cover Haaland. Haaland could get 6 goals and Bernardo Silva could get a single assist. I don't think I need to cover City. I think I need to pick the best players. And if you're asking me, are Doku and Bernardo Silva better than Nkunku and Eze? Not overly, no. I don't think so. Especially not Eze. Nkunku could make an argument, but not enough for me to make a transfer. Currently have Solanke, but I'm looking to bring in Watkins for game week 3. Do you like Palmer to Foden for this game week to free up the funds for Watkins next week? For free, Evan, yeah, I don't mind that at all. If it's for a hit, then no, I would just do it all next week. Sorry, just tuning in now. Haaland triple captain, or can it wait for a double? Do you know what? Let me see if I can bring up the graphic. Let me see if I can find this graphic. 2 seconds. Do I have it? Yes. Okay, here you go. Here's my pros and cons for Haaland triple captain. The pros, yeah, you might not have enough doubles later in the season to use all of your chips. The triple captain is usually the lowest upside chip, so if it goes wrong, you're probably not going to have got that many points later anyway. KDB's fit, Haaland's fit, there's no UCL football. Alvarez now isn't at City. Haaland's going to probably get 90 minutes. He has a 74% chance of scoring according to bookies odds. He's great at home. Loads of good reasons. Cons, there could be better opportunities in the future. We might get more double game weeks, or there might be a better single game week option. I used a very dramatic example in my deadline decisions video of what happens if, when Salah's got Southampton, both of their starting centre-backs are injured. Right, at that point, and Liverpool are looking brilliant. They're top of the league. Like, at that point, I'd rather have had Salah captain. Are Ipswich a team to target? I've got no idea at this early stage whether Ipswich are as bad as people are making out. They might not be. Ipswich last season in the Championship were actually better defensively away from home because they set up very attacking at home. So yes, Liverpool got lots of chances in game week 1, but at the Etihad, I know it's difficult to do this, but they might set up more defensively. And also, City do often start the season quite slowly. We've seen in the past that they take a little bit of time to get going. So listen, there are pros and cons either way. I just think just go for whatever your gut feeling is telling you. There you go. There is my opinion on triple captaincy. If I owned him, and I promise I'm not saying this just because I don't, if I owned him, I wouldn't even think about it. It would be a no for me. But I understand why people are doing it. Because I think worst case scenario, you have to play it later in the season on a single game week. That is the very, 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 very worst case scenario is you have to play it later. And people are saying, yeah, Haaland might be injured. Then fine. Well, you just triple captain Salah. If Salah's injured, Saka's been brilliant. Triple captain. Like, there aren't going to be other single gaming opportunities. And the best case scenario is that a double comes up where you can triple captain him then. So I don't think the worst case scenario is fine. You can just have another single gaming option. Whereas the best case scenario would be a bit of a shame if you triple captain him now. That's just I don't want to put anyone off, but I also think, like, no one mentioned this prior to game week 1. I didn't see a single, and it's not just content creator, I didn't see a single person say, I'm picking Haaland in game week 1 because I want to triple captain him in game week 2. So where has this come from? Because in all honesty, I thought City were quite disappointing in game week 1, and I thought Ipswich were relatively impressive in that first half. So what has happened in the last week that has made everyone want to triple captain Haaland? And then people will say, oh, because we're not going to get many doubles. We knew that. We knew that in like April or May when they released the information about the FA Cup. We knew there would be fewer double game weeks. So why all of a sudden? The only thing I can think of is 2 things. Haaland drafts, a lot of them started the season quite slowly. I've seen a lot of them on like 50 to 60 points. That doesn't feel great. So maybe it's like I'm trying to make up those points that I didn't get in game week 1. Or just a bit of like groupthink majority influence where one person says it and then another person says it. And then because everyone's mentioning it, like, oh, well, if everyone else is mentioning triple captain Haaland, I'll just do it. I'm not saying it's a bad choice, but I feel like it's been blown out of proportion about how good of an opportunity this is to triple captain Haaland. I think it's fine. It could go really well for you, but I don't look at it and say, wow, I'm so like, I really wish I could triple captain him. I think it could be because Salah owners and Salah teams started so well. Haaland owners is a little bit of panic there. And like, if they're probably thinking in mind, if Haaland scores 20 points this week and I can gain 20 extra or 60 points on top of Haaland, like Salah owners, I think there's a little bit of that going on. Maybe I'm wrong. There will be people out there that are just like, no, I just think he's a great triple captain, which is great. Go for it. I've got no issue with it. I hope you enjoy your 5 points. I'm so scared. Please help me. I'm going to pray to the FPL gods after this stream.
Bringing bad
I am bringing bad karmas myself. Yeah, I need to stop. Listen, Haaland owners, I love you. I hope your triple captain goes well. I wish you great health and happiness this weekend. And I hope you have a fantastic day. I love you. You all mean the world to me. Haaland triple captainers, you're the best. Is that better? Did I just get positive karma?
No, you're now getting bad karma because you're not being sincere.
Oh, God, I'm in trouble, chat. I'm in trouble. Anyway, listen, as I've said above the graphic here, if no one's read it, there's text above my team. I think triple captain Haaland is a perfectly viable strategy that may well pay off, but I wouldn't do it if I owned him. I would absolutely captain Haaland, by the way. There is at no point I'm trying to put you off a captaincy. I think you're probably looking at a minimum 8 to 9 points, unless it goes awfully for you. But I think there could be a higher ceiling in the future. Mr. Martin says, good day to you. Good day to you. The best Saturday routine, Coffee plus Raptor deadline streams are back. I really appreciate me being a part of your routine. I have a nice team, but sadly it sits with Solanke. Yeah, I feel the pain. Should I look to transfer him out or just chunk the price drop? I think if you've got cover, just accept it. If you've not got cover, then yeah, maybe just sell him now and obviously avoid the price drop as well. I think it really depends on your team. Like if you've got a similar team to me and you didn't do Solanke to Moniz last night, I just play Gabriel or play whoever's on your bench. But if you've got like Conser on the bench or something like that, or like Rogers, or a player that you just Mavadidi or something like that, then maybe yeah, you think about just selling Solanke. Oh God, I'm in trouble. Sarcasm be strong. I don't mean it. I love you all really. Please help. Seriously though, how many points do we think Haaland gets? I'm going to put a poll out. Don't use your bias. Don't just because you're triple cap. Like genuinely, I'm going to put a poll. How many points do we think Haaland gets? I'm going to start a poll, and I'm going to say.
I'm going to say 13.
I'm going to say 1 to 2 points, 3 to 9 points. No, I'm going to do 3 to 8 points. 9 to 13 points. I don't know why I'm doing these random categories. It's just got what makes sense in my head. 14 plus points. How many points? 14. Everyone's saying 14. You know 14 is a very weird number because if he gets a brace and full bonus, that's 13.
Yeah, 13.
14 would have to be like maybe like a brace and no, that wouldn't even work. Or like a goal and 2 assists and not full bonus. 14 is a weird number. 13 would be a brace and full bonus, which I think, if I had to guess now, I'd say 13.
See, I know.
Yeah, I know you do. Right, we're running the poll. How many points will Haaland get in Game Week 2? 1 to 2 points, which is the correct answer. 3 to 8 points, 9 to 13 or 14 plus. You can tell I'm a psychology student because there are no overlapping categories in that poll. Do you know what upsets me? When people run a poll and it's like 9 to 13, 13 to 15. So if I think 13, where am I voting? There you go. There's no overlapping categories in that poll. Where's -1 as an option? Facts. I agree. If Twanzebe sits on him, it will be interesting. I just want Greaves to just absolutely pocket him. Greaves is such a monster of a man. He was scary when I was watching him against. You know, he gave me like Van Dijk aura. You know, like when they're on the pitch, they just look like a humongous, like they have that feeling about them. Yes, they're obviously really tall and quite muscly and whatever. It's not just the physicality. It's that feeling. When he was entering the box, it just felt like he was I wonder how Haaland will deal with that. Because traditionally, Haaland has struggled a little bit more against those bigger centre-backs. I think what he'll probably do is pull off of Greaves. Right, at every opportunity that he's got, he'll move away from Greaves. He won't be silly enough, I don't think, to sit on Greaves. And the thing is, also, Greaves he's not Van Dijk, right? He's not an elite level centre-back at the moment, at least. So, yeah, maybe I'm just getting a little bit overly excited. Good morning, Ross. Hope you're well. Start Morgan Gibbs White or Murphy. Loving the FPL therapy pod, by the way. Thank you so much, Josh. I'm loving doing it. We've got another episode next week, which I'm excited for. It's actually going to be a day later, though, because of the bank holiday. But yeah, I'm excited. Start Gibbs White or Murphy. I'd start Gibbs White. Penalties, better fixture. Yeah. Start Moniz or Nkunku? Moniz for me. Doku captain, wish me luck. Good luck. It's very, very ballsy. I like it. Gabriel or Harwood Bellis? Gabriel. Love you too as well. Thank you, Matthew. Jonathan says, got Moniz. Which -4 is better? Solanke and Winks to Armstrong and Doku. Solanke and Mikalenko to Gvardiol and Pedro. Or Solanke and Palmer to Foden and Mateta. I don't love the -4s, but I think out of all of those, I like Gvardiol and Pedro. I think, myself. Greaves clean sheet and full bonus. I would take a Greaves 25 pointer if it means Haaland blanks. I would accept that. I would accept a Salah blank if it means Haaland blanks. I don't even care. I'm not even asking or requesting that Salah outscores Haaland this week. I'm just asking that he gets close. Listen, if Haaland wants to go out and bag 23 points, but Salah wants to go and get me 17, I'll accept that. I've got no issue with that. What I don't want is Salah to blank and Haaland to smash it. Hi, Raptor, Saka or Foden? If you're buying fresh now, Foden. If you've got Saka, I wouldn't sell Saka for Foden. $13 unlucky number. It is, isn't it? I feel like 13 is a score where Salah owners don't mind, or non-Haaland owners don't mind, and also Haaland captains and triple captains don't mind. I feel like 13 is right on that line of we're all okay. More than 13, they're delighted we're in pain. And I think if you get less than 13 points from Haaland this week, it's a bit of a flop. I genuinely think that. Because at that point, like, Salah outscored him in game week 1. As long as Salah does something in game week 2, then Salah's probably outscoring Haaland overall. So 13 is a bit too much. I'm not sure. 17 is good. I think that's probably what you're hoping for is a hat-trick, yeah. People do realise it's hard to score a hat-trick, right? As good as Haaland is, he's not just going to definitely go out there and get a hat-trick. You got half an hour until the deadline, by the way. If you are enjoying today's stream, please do smash a like and also make sure to subscribe as well. We are now, are we anywhere close to 130? Oh, we're 300 subscribers away from 130k. There will definitely be at least 300 people watching right now that aren't subscribed. So if you're watching now and you're not subscribed, please do consider just hitting that button down below. I'd appreciate it. I'd say 10 is the break-even line for everyone. Fair. I think it's slightly higher than that, but I understand. It also depends on Salah, right? Because if, like I said, if Salah gets 17 points, then all of a sudden the line for Haaland is like 21, 23. It's not just how many Haaland gets. And the thing is, I don't know if people know, Salah plays tomorrow. So if Haaland scores like 20 plus points, I have to sit there and just be praying for at least 24 hours that Salah goes and gets something. At least I'll have the hope. You know? At least the hope will be there. Sky Sports is saying Haaland's out for 8 weeks. Please confirm. No, that was a. Have you not seen the account? It's called Slow Sports News. They post news from like 10 years ago and then they pretend it's now. It wasn't even a parody. I was gonna say it was a fake account. It's like a parody account. It's a joke account. So yeah, don't worry about that. He's fine. I already transferred out Quansah. Do I sell Solanke for a hit? Depends what the rest of your team is. I'll start Rodgers and deal with Solanke next week. For a hit, I'd probably just start Rodgers. This is why I have both Salah and Haaland from the beginning. Absolutely. Like, Salah and Haaland owners are loving life. They don't have that fear either way. Ross, Solanke is probably going down in price tonight. Isn't Kunku and Solanke to Rodgers and Watkins worth as early transfers for Game Week 3? It's extremely early to make 2 transfers, but as you say, you're going to not be able to do that soon. So yeah, I'd be tempted. I would. It's the point in the season where early transfers make more sense, for sure. Got Maniz and Solanke. Solanke to Jackson or Roll. Roll. I wouldn't go Jackson. Jackson, I don't think will get close to 90. He's not even definitely going to start Jackson, although I think he probably will. He scored 5 versus Luton and 4 a couple of times. He also scored 1 goal against Luton at home last season. He played 80 minutes and scored 1 goal. So, yeah. You can frame it however you want, mate. Like, yeah, he scored 5 against Luton, but he scored 1. He's also blanked against Fulham. He's blanked against West Ham. Like, it just depends on the day. It also depends massively on game state, right? If Haaland scores inside the first 3 minutes, it's game over. Yeah, it's disaster at that point. That is worst case. If it gets to 20, 30, 40, Ipswich could sneak it like a 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 kind of loss. And I think they'd be probably relatively happy with that. Hi, Ross. How is your Fantasy United team doing? Pretty good. I might show it after the stream, but I've gone for no defenders this week because I think Brighton will score. I think I've got ultra rare Garnacho. Ultra Garnacho, I've got Rare Fernandez, and then I think I've got Casemiro, Mainu, and Mount or something, hoping that the midfields get a few points. I think it'll be a tough game for Man United, though. Should I start Anderson? I don't think Anderson will play this week, sadly. I am new to FPL. Can you help me squeezing Haaland into a similar team to yours? Yeah, you can go for my exact team, but rather than Salah and Manise, you go for Haaland and Smith Rowe. That's what FPL Pickle's team is.
That is my team.
My girlfriend who sat there has exactly the same team as me, but she has Haaland and Smith Rowe, and I've got Manise and Salah. Obviously, this week, I would rather have Haaland and Smith Rowe, but in game week 1, my combination did fairly well, so we'll see. Also, I've got 2 million in the bank, I suppose. That is the other difference. Hi, Raptor. Do I start Ahmad or Harwood Bellis? I don't think Ahmad will feature, so probably Harwood Bellis. Captain Foden or Salah this week? Still Salah for me, but if you want to go risky, go for Foden. What a YouTube name. I'll read it out because it's a super chat. Lord Willie says, hey, the implied probability of 1.5 odds is actually 66.7%. You divide the 1 by decimal odds and then multiply by 100. 1 divided by 1.5 times 100 is 66.7%. You should also use exchange, not the bookies, which is 1.54. So 64.9% of Haaland scoring. That is excellent mathematical skills, but when I looked, the bookies odds were 74%. So they've just gone down slightly, all that tells me. Or you're looking at a different set of bookies odds. But if you're saying we should use the exchange, then yeah. So 64.9. You're still saying that Haaland is more likely to score than not. All right? If he's over 50%, he's more likely to score than not. So you are likely to get at least 7, 8, 9 points from Haaland. I guess the same point remains that Haaland is likely to get you at least 7+ points. By the way, on the poll, 11% of you think Haaland will get 1 to 2 points. 24% think 3 to 8 points. We've got 40% think he'll get 9 to 13. And 26% think he'll get 14+. So 9 to 13 seems to be the consensus there. I'd take it. Are we sleeping on Neto? He had only 55 mins in the conference. Yeah, but... Yeah, Maresca said in his post-match presser that he doesn't think Neto's in a position to keep starting games like that. I don't think Neto will feature much at all. I think Neto will get like 10 minutes max. But once he starts, starting more regularly, absolutely. But yeah, if you look at the post-match press conference quotes, it didn't look great for a Neto starting game week 2. But I do think eventually he'll start a lot more games, yeah. Should I start Smith Rowe or Manise? So I'd go Manise, but I think that's extremely close. Hi, Ross. Start Archer, Minte, or Hall? Minte. Thoughts on Rico Lewis? Feel like he's such a wild card. Yeah, he is for I just think eventually Walker comes back into that 11. So I don't think Rico Lewis is that great beyond this week. But this week I expect him to start, and so he's a great option, absolutely. But if you're doing something like Quansah to Rico Lewis, it's like, not have you not learnt your lesson, because they're very different players, and Rico Lewis has a high upside. But it's like, you complain that one player gets dropped when he's a rotation risk. So what do? You transfer him to another rotation risk. There's at some point, like Robinson had 37 starts last season, and Robinson has high upside. I don't think Rico Lewis's upside is that much higher than Robinson that it's worth going for such a risky player. 1 hour to go. It's 11, the deadline, isn't it? So it's 24 minutes to go. I thought I got the deadline wrong now. I panicked, I had to check. I thought, has it been that long since I've done a Saturday stream? 24 minutes to go to the deadline. That's flown by today's stream. Wow. JP or Armstrong, please, Ross. I still prefer João Pedro slightly, but Armstrong could do very well, for sure. Have you had any team leaks yet? No, I've not seen anything. Had you on in the car? Saturday really does have some chill vibes. Oh, thank you, Frosty. I appreciate it, my man. Good to see you in the chat. Abdullah has become a Rap Tier 2 member. Thank you very much, Abdullah. I appreciate it. Oops, my bad. Sorry, everyone. You're okay, Shazam. I was like, oh no, is it 11:30 the deadline? Have I forgot? No, you're okay. Don't have to apologise. Better long-term option between Livramento and Hall. It just completely depends if Trippier does leave, but it looks more and more likely that he will. I'd argue Livramento is the better option if Trippier leaves, but we just sadly don't have that confirmation. I would still be tempted to take a punt on Livramento. Because I think once everyone's fit and available, then, I mean, they'll probably sign a right back Newcastle. But as of right now, you've got Burn, Kelly, and Hall that can all play left back. Is there no one else that plays right back? I can't think of anyone. They could play Emil Kraft there. They could play Jacob Murphy there. But you've got no actual right back. Again, they'll sign someone, I'm sure. But I'd be tempted to go Livramento. Am I missing someone? I'm probably missing someone. Yeah, Emil Kraft, who's just not great. Camera's gone. Fantastic. Good timing. Thoughts on Foden captain? Yeah, I don't mind it. In all honesty, I really do prefer to captain penalty takers. And I think if you've got Haaland, you captain Haaland. And I think Salah is a perfectly viable captain if you have him. I suppose if you don't have Salah and you don't have Haaland, then Foden's probably a decent shout. Pay your electricity bill. Yeah, I know I should, shouldn't I? Goodness me. Dude, just buy a new camera. It's not just the camera. I think it's the computer. I tried buying a new computer. The computer didn't work very well. It's all a kerfuffle, really. It's all a mess. Listen, I'm still a student. I'm a PhD student, all right? Don't expect me to start forking out for a new camera. Listen, when I finish my PhD, I promise, and this is a promise from the bottom of my heart, I will sort out my internet, I will sort out my computer, and I will sort out my camera. But as of right now, it's part of the charm of the channel, and you're going to have to get over it. Buy a new house. I don't even have a house. I live in student accommodation, so it's a mess. So all of it's a mess, okay? Raptor, get it together. I know. I'm sorry. Right, I'm back. There you go. See? Doesn't matter. Any news on Minte? I think he'll start. The press conference update was that he's available. Everyone's asking for team news. I don't think we've got anything. Tony started a bloody Patreon, so Tony's not going to post anything anymore. Tony said yesterday that he's starting a Patreon, and that's where he'll do his exclusive team leaks. So we're not getting anything from Tony. Lazy FPL seems to still be pretty good, but they've not tweeted anything yet. I would have thought at this stage if they had... Oh. Twitter's crashed me. Yeah, I've not seen anything. I think for now, we're going to say we've got no early team news, sadly. But I think it will be Rashford, Xerxes, and Garnacho as the front three. Like, what other team news would you like? Formerly Twitter. I'm not calling it X. I'm sorry. X is such a bad name for an app. I mean, I'd go as far as saying it's the worst named app of all time. And what are you supposed to say? I X'd. I tweeted. I X'd. So you have to say I posted. And then people say, oh, where did you post? Then you just have to say, oh, sorry, I posted on X. Tweeted worked so well. This idea of little tweeting birds, is so clever, intuitive. I love... X sucks.
I will always call it Twitter.
Yeah, I will never not call it Twitter. Sorry, Elon. If you're watching... Listen, I know Elon's a big fan of the channel, and Elon's a big FPL manager. Elon, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but Twitter was better. Okay? Everyone agrees. No one likes X. To be fair, I do like the X logo. Looks pretty cool, and the vibe of it's great, but... We are just under 300 subscribers away from 130,000. If you have been enjoying this stream, or if you're watching right now and you want to subscribe, I'd love if we could hit it before the deadline. So please do consider subscribing. I'd appreciate that a lot. Hi, Ross. What is your rationale between Muniz versus Mateta? Muniz is cheaper and has better fixtures. That's it, pretty much. I think they're all very similar options. Hi, Ross. How are you? I'm good, Douglas Max. Good to see you back in the chat. Thank you very much. I will forever remember your ridiculous super chat that you dropped last season. That is to this date the biggest super chat the channel has ever received. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm doing well, mate. I hope you're all as well. And thank you for still being a Raptor X Platinum member. You're an absolute legend. Keep Gvardiol or take a hit for Porro. Keep Gvardiol. In my head, I was like, have I read that question wrong? Absolutely. I'd rather have Gvardiol than Porro right now. What to do? Should I roll a free transfer? Henderson, Porro, Saliba, Trent, Eze, Bruno, Salah, and Kunku, Jota, Isak, Muniz. I mean, that team's perfect, mate. Yeah, absolutely. You've got Robinson on the bench. Absolutely right. I know you've got Solanke there, but you don't need to remove him when your team looks that good. So, yeah, I think you're absolutely fine. Captain Jota, Eze, or Havertz? Jota from those options, probably. Although Eze is very talismanic, isn't he? Will Haaland start for sure? Yeah. Hey Raptor, how are you? What do the green stars mean? Oh, what next to the players? It means they're a top scoring player across the season. So as the season goes on, that'll update and stuff. But yeah, anyone with a little star, it means they're in the top scoring like 11 players or 15 players. So obviously Porro, Saka, and Salah were all in there for me, which is nice. If that's what you mean. Outside of that, I don't know what other green stars are on the screen, so I want to assume that was what you're talking about. Greetings from New Zealand. Start Robinson and Kunku or Smith Rowe? Smith Rowe. Sorry, Ross, last question. You don't have to apologise. You can ask as many questions as you want. I also just got Fantasy Football Hub in your link. Very nice. Hopefully you enjoy it. Thank you for using the link. Do I transfer Mikalenko straight up for Robinson or Powell or save 0.5 and go for Greaves or Keane? Sorry, chat. 2 seconds. Sorry, chat. I just felt really like, with honesty in mind, I felt very nauseous then. Like, you can see I've gone like really pale as well. I don't know what happened there. I didn't want to throw up on the stream, so I backed out and came back. Whew. Anyway, where was I?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry, your question. Mikalenko straight out for Robinson. I would go for Robinson. I would not save the 0.5. I think Robinson's a fantastic option coming up. Sorry, chat. As a non-Haaland brother, start 2 of Robinson, Hall, Gabriel. This is what having no Haaland does to you. I would start Robinson and Gabriel. Take care. I'm fine, honestly, chat. I just, my throat went like, and I was like, oh dear. Don't apologise, you the man. Thank you, I appreciate it. Could you briefly explain the new bonus point system? The key thing is now defenders lose 4 bonus points when they concede. So defenders are less likely to get bonus when they concede. Which is funny that Porro still got a bonus point despite conceding. But you know, like Trippier used to get bonus points without any attacking returns and without any clean sheet. That won't happen now. So every goal they concede, they lose 4 bonus. And the other thing is that they gain 4 bonus points for gain 2 bonus points for every shot on target and 3 for every foul won, I think it is. Let me find out. Rules. Scoring. Is it not there? Why does that look like the old one? Oh, that's scoring. Where's the bonus? Oh, here you go. Bonus points. So for every foul won, for every foul won, it's 1 gain to the bonus points. And for every shot on target, it's 2. There we go. I thought it was 3. It's 1. So basically, attackers that get lots of shots on target and win lots of fouls will get more bonus. And defenders are therefore less likely to keep them. I think that's the key stuff, really. They're the key changes. So someone like Salah, if Salah wins 5 fouls in a game and has 4 shots on target, he's then getting, in comparison to last season, an extra 13 in the bonus point system. So I think a lot of attackers like Saka and Salah will get a lot more bonus this season. As a non-Haaland brother, I did that one. Yeah, start Robinson, Hall, Gabriel. I'd start Robinson and then Gabriel. And good luck with the no Haaland. I'm sorry if anyone's followed me into this and it's going to go badly. Any City leaks? Not this early, no. I've heard that Haaland's going to get 5 points, but that's not confirmed yet. It's just a rumour. Should I take out Anthony Gordon for Doku? No. Hi, Ross. In Kunku or Gordon bench this week? In Kunku or Gordon bench? That's such a tough one, isn't it? Neither of them are going to have great minutes. I would probably start in Kunku. If it was at home for Gordon, I'd maybe start Gordon. But we know that traditionally he's not very good away from home. What's your percentage for and against Haaland triple captain? That's a really good question. If I had Haaland, I would say 80% no, 20% yes. I obviously don't have him, so therefore it's 100% no. But yeah, if I had Haaland in my head, I'd say like 20% of me would be tempted, maybe 15%. I think that, and by the way, that's very high for me because I will always rather triple captain in a double. But yeah, as of right now, 80-20. But there's some really good managers out there that are triple captaining. For example, Fran is a fantastic manager. He's triple captaining Haaland last time I saw. So we'll see. You've got just over 10 minutes until the deadline. Make sure to lock in those teams. Any team news? I've not seen anything yet, no. But again, due to Ahmad's bereavement and also the fact that I think eventually over time his minutes will drop a bit, I think it'll be a front three of Rashford, Xerxes and Garnacho. Bruno will start. I think Mount and Casemiro will start again. Will Mount and... maybe not Casemiro. Maybe not Mount. I don't know. Yeah, because if Xerxes starting, Mount can't start, can he? Maybe it's Mount and Bruno again, but I feel like they want to get Xerxes in. I'm going to say it's going to be Rashford, Xerxes, Garnacho, Bruno, Casemiro, Mainu, and Mount misses out. But I think that would be really harsh for Mount because he was very, very decent in Game Week 1, I thought. He put in a real shift. And then the back line will be probably Mazraoui, one of De Ligt or Maguire, Martinez, and Dallo. Here for FPL says, good morning, Ross. Good morning. Bench one of Munoz or Nkunku. Robinson, Munoz, or Nkunku. Oh, that's so tough. I wouldn't bench Nkunku. I'd bench one of Robinson or Munoz. Who's your favourite Tottenham player? What, of all time or now? A Tottenham player? Do I like any? Not really. No. Probably Pedro Porro from an FPL perspective. Start Aina or Saliba? I'd start Saliba. Yeah. Do it, Oscar. I'm not Oscar. You're in the wrong stream.
There's an Oscar in the chat. Could be talking to that.
Oh, maybe. Hi, Ross. Maybe missed the news for this week, but would you rather Foden or Saka? I said I think if it's specifically for this week, absolutely Foden. I think if you're buying fresh for the next few weeks, it's Foden. But like longer term, I definitely, especially from Game Week 6 onwards, I'd absolutely prefer to have Saka. And I could see a world in which Saka outscores Foden over the next three. Especially considering that Saka's on pens and obviously Foden isn't. Xerxes starts. Leak came through, Ross. When did Menezes' price rise? Last night at 2:30 a.m. BST. Again, price changes only happen at 2:30 BST in the morning. Or 1:30 GMT. So you can work out for your own time zone, but they always happen at the same... Who's tweeted? Was it Lazy FPL that's tweeted that? Chat, there's a few people saying Xerxes starts. Where is it so I can find the tweet, please?
Are you starting Robinson?
Yeah. I think he's got slightly higher upside this week.
Yeah, I agree. He's the best for team.
How do you know Foden's starting? We don't. Savinho came off injured, though. And so I think Doku will start on one wing. And then so you could see Bernardo Silva on the other. You could see Grealish get a start. But Grealish got no minutes last game. Savinho came off injured. Foden got 45. I just think it looks, by all accounts, like it'll be Doku and Foden on the wings. Obviously, that's not great for Foden, by the way. He's much better central. But hi, Ross, you missed my super chat. Okay. No one's saying where this tweet came from, so I'm assuming people are either making it up or they don't know. Hi, Ross. Start Munoz or Robinson and why? I would just about favour Robinson because I think they're both very attacking, but Robinson's got the best fixture. But Munoz probably has slightly better attacking threat. I'd say if we're like measuring them in terms of attacking threat, Munoz is slightly ahead. But in terms of fixture, Robinson's slightly ahead. So I think it's whether you back the fixture or the attacking threat. I think it's very, very close. Simply United. Okay. They're not a... Do they get early team news? That would be new. I know the account you mean. I don't think I follow them, though. Simply United. Okay. No. Garnacho and Xerxes both start against Brighton. There we go. That was... Oh, that was a while ago. That was almost an hour ago. So that means that either Ahmad doesn't start, which we expected, or it's Garnacho on the left and Ahmad starts on the right, and it's actually Rashford that's benched. So, yeah, so my guess now, as before, was Garnacho, Xerxes, Rashford, Bruno as the 10, and then Mainu and Casemiro, which means Mount on the bench and Ahmad on the bench. That would be my prediction based on what you can see there. I don't know how reliable. Like, they're a relatively big account, Simply United, but I don't know how reliable they are for early team news. So take it with a pinch of salt. Salt. Take it with a pinch of salt. I say salt. Like a proper southerner. I have that account blocked. Oh, in that case, ignore it. I don't know them as an account in terms of how reliable they are. Number 1 in Northern Ireland last year. Changed Solanke for a -4. What a flex. Just starting it with a flex. Change Solanke for a -4 or Bailey. Or start Bailey, do you mean? I'd probably start Bailey if it's for a hit. If it was for free, I'd maybe change it a bit. Went Solanke to my knees, but now have a bench of Quansah, Barco, and Jebison. Okay. Yeah, Loney's a price lock. So, but so we think like 99% sure that Barco will be price locked, right? But I'm not entirely sure. Like the thing is with FPL, they've never made it fully public when things get locked, what the price change algorithm is. So they could decide this year to not do that. But yes, I would assume that Barco is locked. But yeah, you do need to sort out that bench of Quansah, Barco, and Jebison because that basically is no bench. So yeah, moving forward, maybe next week, use that money that you've got from Solanke to Maniz to upgrade the bench. You've got just over 5 minutes till the deadline, chat, to get those teams locked in. Who should I bench from Dan Burn and Gabriel? I would bench Dan Burn and I would start Gabriel, but that's just because I love the Arsenal defence. I know I'm benching one, but I think Robinson is better than Dan Burn, in my opinion. Any news? Haven't been on. No news. There is an account tweeting that Garnacho and Xerxes start, but outside of that, nothing really. And we don't know how reliable it is. Rodgers and Greaves going forward or ESR and Robinson? Well, Rodgers and Greaves is so much cheaper. ESR and Robinson is the better combo, but Rodgers and Greaves is $1 million cheaper. So, I mean, it depends what you could do with that other $1 million. You missed my super chat. Let me try and find it. Start 2 of Minte, Gibbs White, or Gordon. I would start Gibbs White and Gordon and bench Minte just about. But he was very good in game week 1, so. Son or Foden? I mean, in isolation, I prefer Foden, but I wouldn't transfer Son to Foden unless you desperately wanted a City attacker and you felt like it was a great move yourself. Haaland's going to score 4 goals. Yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly. Gvardiol was captain. If he was playing a more attacking role, I think so, but not in the role that he's playing at the moment with Rico Lewis, the one that's getting forward. He's playing as like a left centre-back. So you might get an attacking return, and you're probably going to get a clean sheet, but I don't know if I would want to triple captain, or even captain, really, in all honesty. Get your teams locked in, not long to the deadline. Make sure your bench is sorted and all that lovely stuff. News on Palmer. Unfortunately, no definitive news on Palmer, no. As much as that would be nice. He was clutching his hamstring when he came off. And then, since then, we've got no update. Although, Maresca did say after the game that he thinks he'll be absolutely fine. Do I want to vice-captain Isak? He's got my vice at the moment. Not that it probably matters. I think Salah will be fine, but you never know. You might get a random bit of news that Salah's not fine. Don't want to. Yeah, I'll probably vice captain Isak. I'm tempted by Jota, but I don't like captaining and vice captaining in the same game, just in case. Will Darwin start? I'd be very surprised. He got 0 minutes in game week 1. I think he'll get minutes in this game, you'd imagine, but I don't know that he'll start. Hey Ross, did you bring in Maniz before the price increase? Yes, I did. I've got 2 million in the bank. I made it before the price change. Calling it now, Ipswich to win 1-0. If you think that, and I'm not suggesting that you should bet and gamble, but that would win you a lot of money. I think they have a 3% chance of a clean sheet. Ipswich, which seems quite disrespectful. But even if you up that to 5%, like they're not going to keep a clean sheet here. I'm sorry. Sorry, Ipswich fans. As much as I would love that. Maybe I should start Greaves. Palmer to Jota for free. I own Haaland, no Salah. Palmer to Jota for free. It would be tempting, but I still probably wouldn't do it. Cheers for the stream, Ross. You are more than welcome. I'll probably stream for a little bit after the deadline still, so do stick around, by the way. If you're watching now and you want to just chill and we'll wait for the lineups and stuff, then yeah, stay. Ross, are you ready for your fat L today? 5-0 City. Probably, yeah. I'll accept it. Will Anderson start with Fulham? I don't think so for this week. I don't think they would have registered him in time. So no. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no. I don't think Anderson starts. Triple captain activated. Chat, who's got their triple captain active? Best of luck. I hope you get at least 2 points. Please. Please, not too many. Ross, the FPL Messiah, is Bernardo a good captain? No, not really. He's fine if you want to go there. I would go Haaland, then Salah, and then way down after that, you're starting to look at Jota, Isak, Pedro Porro, Trent, stuff like that. I'm going to triple captain Salah. That is such a ballsy move in the week that everyone's triple captaining Haaland. It's classic FPL for Haaland to be outscored by Salah, so go for it. Does Richarlison come in? I'm not sure. It'll be Richarlison or it could be Kulusevski as the 9, so I would probably say no. Do you knock a KDB captain? No, it's okay. I do just think, though, like KDB's going to do well in that game, Haaland will probably do better. There are very few games where KDB smashes it and Haaland doesn't. Because normally it's assists for KDB, right? And if KDB's assisting, who's he assisting? It's Haaland. So I probably wouldn't ever captain KDB ahead of Haaland. However, if you don't have Haaland, then yeah, KDB's great. Ipswich 1-0 is the same odds as Man City 7-0. Interesting. Ross, I've got the same team as you, but I missed the Maniz price rise. If you've got the same team as me, just start Gabriel probably and go into a 4-5-1. Or just make the move and have 0.1 less than me. Yeah, less than a minute till the deadline. Stop asking questions. Get your teams locked in. Get those teams locked. Less than a minute. Hi, Raptor. Bench one amongst Nkunku, Wood, Armstrong. I'd probably bench Nkunku, probably. That is it. We are locked. Let me tweet my team. I miss the Julian Alvarez days. I agree with you. I do. We're locked. Make sure you stick around, though. And if you're not going to stick around, please subscribe on the way out. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. How many subscribers away from... Oh, okay. We're like 200 away. That's what happened. Why as soon as the deadline goes, does my stream cave in? Happened last week as well. It's like, oh, I can finally relax. Even the stream's stressed out during the deadline. Yeah, maybe it's time to upgrade the computer. The computer struggles more than the internet these days, I think, sadly. Game week 2 teams. Solanke to Maniz, Salah. Yes, there you go. Dunzo. We need KSI on FPL therapy. Yeah, I'll work on it. Don't you worry. That's a possibility in the future. By the way, if you are here right now, can I give you a cheeky insight into let's go onto YouTube and let's go on to my channel. And wait, I'll just go into my subscribers. Here we go. Because I subscribe to FPL Therapy. I've got a podcast called, do you know what? Let me go on to, this one would be better, wouldn't it, for it? Yeah, there we go. Please subscribe to FPL Therapy. I'm trying to hit 10. Do you know what? I reckon with everyone in the stream today, we could probably hit 10k subscribers. I'm not even joking. I'm guaranteed there's at least half of you that haven't subscribed to FPL Therapy. It's my new podcast. It's an FPL one, so I'm not promoting some random thing. I'm spamming the link in the chat. Don't block me, mods. But yeah, it's in person. I did one with Praz. That's me. I want to get copyright striked for my own stuff. But yeah, Praz was brilliant, by the way. But, you know, I'll mute it just so that it's not annoying in the background. But yeah, every week there's going to be a podcast. It's in studio, in person. Really good. It's on Spotify and Apple as well if you want to listen on there instead. But yeah, I'd recommend giving it a check. And if you could please subscribe, like I said, I'm very close to 10k. I'm only 1.7k off 10. So if you could subscribe to FPL Therapy, it would mean a lot to me. And ignore the fact that my camera's given up on live. Subscribed. Legends. Legends. Ignore the fact that the stream's dying right now. Audio seems a bit echoey, but I subbed. That would have only been on through my computer. If you watch it yourselves, FPL Therapy shouldn't be echoey. It's in a podcast recording studio. Who's going to be the next guest? We have FPL Pricey on, Sam, who's got a fantastic YouTube channel. He's the co-host of Who Got the Assist. Yeah. I'm really excited for that one, actually, because I think, like Praz, Harry, and Oscar, everyone knows. I feel like Sam, FPL Pricey, is a little bit less well known, and I think it'll be good for him for people to hear what he's got to say, because he's a really interesting guy and he's got some good FPL knowledge. Shazam says, good luck tonight in the final. I'll be following as always. Go South London United. Yes, above my head. The team that I manage, South London United. We have our final tonight at 9:30 p.m. Will you tweet your early transfers, please? No, I don't do that, because then people copy me directly. I think it's quite nice that there will be a lot of people that were copying me, and last night they wouldn't have made the Manish transfer, and therefore they'll now be 0.1 down. As harsh as that sounds, I don't think anyone should be following what I do directly. The FPL app has crashed. The app hasn't crashed. The deadline's gone. The deadline's at 11. So, yeah, the deadline's gone. Nothing to do with the app crashing. Garnacho ain't starting. Sam C tweeted. No. Oh, I'm very sorry then. That is shocking. That is absolutely shocking. I think FF Bobby would be interesting. Does he live in Scotland, though? It'll be difficult to get him down to London. But yeah, I'll reach out because I agree he's an interesting guy. Non-Haaland or Salah owner, I captained Jota last minute. How screwed am I, lol? Not screwed at all. Jota could absolutely outscore both Haaland and Salah. You could see it. Stranger things have happened in FPL, for sure. Subscribe to You Are Cristiano. I can't believe he's got like 40 million subscribers in like 2 days. Imagine being that goated and that famous that you get 40 mil subscribers in 2 days. I was proud of my 8,000 on FPL Therapy. Bruno Brace. I could see Bruno doing very well in this game. I think it's a game that will suit him well. And I think he was very unlucky. I put £10 bet on 1-0 to Ipswich and it's a £1,200 return. What? That seems high. I guess like the chance of that is so slim, isn't it? FPL Sim as a guest. Well, FPL Sim is the Stick to FPL co-host, isn't he? And they record on the same day. So I think that's unlikely, but possible. My brother, Captain Havertz, what do you think? I don't love it. I think there are definitely better fixtures, but Havertz has been so good, you never know. Thanks for the stream, Ross. See you later for SLU. Have to go and sort out the barbecue later. Oh, I'm so jealous. Please invite me for the barbecue next time. I'd love that. Messi's on 2.5 million and started in 2006. Yeah, but in 2006, if he now promoted it the way Ronaldo did, I think he would still gain a lot of subs. But Ronaldo has a different like aura about him on like social media and stuff, doesn't he? Wait, you're 185k in the world. Yeah, what's wrong with that? I think that's a decent start. You need to get Andy Martin on the podcast. I asked him, but he said he's basically got no annual leave until like 2030. So I don't think I'm likely to do it. Thoughts on Game Week 3 wildcard? I think it's Game Week 4 or Game Week 6 for me when I look at the fixtures. Game Week 3 is the week before the international break. I don't love wildcarding the week before an international break. Get Chai on. Yeah, Chai lives in Ireland, I believe. So I will get Chai on even when I can get him in the UK. He's in the UK quite a lot, to be fair. But the thing is, I record 1 till 3 on a Monday. Getting people that are free in the middle of the day and not at work and can travel to London, it's not easy. So it's not just about getting someone on. It's about logistically, can they be there? But FPL Air, however we pronounce that, Niall, another Irish, I'd love to get on. Let's Talk FPL. I've already asked him. He said he's ever down in London, which he's not. But if he is, I'd get him on. There are lots of good Irish managers I'd like to have on the podcast. Ross is not top 100k unsubscribe. I agree. What an absolute bald fraud. What a bald fraud. Yeah, I'm starting to get an error message. Encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings or changing your encoding preset. That tells me that my computer's giving up. Get Pickle on FPL therapy. Pickle, what do you have to say to that? And speak loudly for them.
Maybe one day.
Not short and sweet. This is why she can't get on the podcast. I'll be like, Pickle, what do you think about this player? She'll go, yeah, good.
And this is the thing, you've had people like Praz on that can actually talk. I'm really bad at talking.
You just have to waffle on a podcast, which is why I love it, to be honest.
Yeah, you're a good waffler, I'm not.
All right, love. Fuck, I'm a good waffler. I feel like you were supposed to think that. Jesus. Get Chunks. Chunks is booked in. The main man Chunks is already booked in. Maybe game week 6 or 7, I think it was. Also, maybe get in Philly on the podcast, HP on the podcast, Sharky on the podcast, Stormzy when he's not being the busiest man in the world. Error is pronounced error. Okay, there we go. Error. FPL error.
I love the Irish accent you attempt to put on it.
What? It was good. Tot. That's my Irish accent. I tot. Get Pickle on cam. Pickle is not suitable for cam right now, and that's not me being rude. She's got Sudocreme all over her face. Okay, would you come on cam?
No, but that's not the point.
She's also wearing a Manscaped top that says, "Your balls will thank you." When I did my partnership with Manscaped last year, I got a Manscaped top that says, "Manscaped, your balls will thank you." And she's wearing that t-shirt right now. So
Yeah, I look great right now.
I get that message all the time. Are you streaming from a Mac by any chance? I think it's OBS's update is messing things up. Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, I am streaming on a Mac. Yeah, okay, that could be the issue. The black box lads. As might be difficult due to like scout things, apparently. Don't know, but Mark I'll get on at some point. Are you bringing on Fran? Fran is the guest in 3 weeks. Yeah, FPL Fran will be on. What other guests would you like to see? Please let me know. But yeah, all of these people that you're mentioning are either coming on or going to be on, for sure. How tall are you, Ross? I'm 5'10". I'm 178 centimeters, if that works for you as well.
Big boy.
Not really, but I'm not short like everyone seems to think. I still don't think FPL Pickle was real. She was on the stream last year. She came on the Game Week 38 stream. Do you want to put your hand on camera?
My hand?
Yeah, just this. Look.
I'm scared someone's gonna...
You literally don't even have... You just put your hand. Your hand needs to come to here, and your body here would be off camera.
Talking. What more evidence?
Because people think you're like AI. Say something that AI wouldn't say.
I can't because you'll get demonetized.
That's outrageous. She's AI. No, she's not. Yelena on the podcast. I did ask Yelena. Yelena basically said, ask me later in the year. So I've asked like 30 people and they've all just said, yeah, come back to me in a few months. So Magnus Carlsen would be the dream, but it's difficult to get in contact with him. You look a bit like MMA fighter Alex Volkanovski and give off the same vibe. Yeah, I get that like 10 times per stream. I do agree. It's just a bald guy with a beard, but we've got like a similar nose, I think, as well. Hi, Ross. Are you going to do an FPL meetup this season? I think I'll do an FPL meetup in December again. Yeah, in Nottingham. So, yeah. Click pictures with bicycle. No, she's not AI. That's quite an AI thing to say. It is, yeah, I agree. Lineups are out.
I thought that when I said that.
They're out in 5 minutes, I think. Davey FPL. He's South African, though. Is he living in South Africa or does he live in the UK? FPL family, absolutely. Yeah, FPL family are getting on there. I've already spoke to Sam. I'm going to get Sam and Leon separately, but yeah, they'll both be on. She sounds like Emma Watson. I get that vibe, although she's obviously from Birmingham, not from London.
Not even southern.
It's the soft voice. Emma Watson's got a very soft
That is
tone.
a good compliment, thank you.
You got Manise for 6? Yeah, I did.
Ben Foster, I've said this to you.
Yeah, Ben Foster will probably come on the podcast, to be fair. I think my agent knows his agent, I think, so we could probably get Ben Foster on. James from Planet FPL. Unfortunately, James does all of his recordings on a Monday. It's the same thing. Harry now has started a new podcast. If you've not seen Harry's podcast, go check it out. It's called like Know the Score. It's a football one, not an FPL one. But Harry records on a Monday. Lots of people record on a Monday. FPL Mate records his podcast on a Monday. So it's going to be difficult to get some people on then. Get Jermaine Genus on. No, absolutely not, based on what I've heard. Ross, visit India with FPL Pickle. We need to visit a lot of places in the world. Angry Ginge. I don't think Angry Ginge plays FPL. And I don't know if he suits the style of the podcast that I've created. My podcast is it's not boring, but it's quiet. Wait, she's from Birmingham. Please tell me she supports Villa. Yes, she does.
Of course I do.
She is a Villa fan. Get Salah on. Is FPL Harry lucky on his strategy or is he the king? I would say Harry is the best FPL manager I know and comfortably hands down the luckiest manager I know. This is no disrespect to Harry, and I've said this before 100 times. You can't get the amount of good ranks he has in a row without a large slice of luck. So, but you also can't do it with just luck. You need to be really lucky and also be very good. And Harry somehow gets those two. Bazinga, yeah, Bazinga's possible. So again, my agent knows the Sidemen's agent. So that's, in fact, I know the Sidemen's agent as well. He's a very nice guy. So that's a possibility. The thing is with these people, they're just so busy. So the Fantasy Football Hub host guy, yeah, Jack Redditor, yeah, I could definitely get him on. That's a good shout. Micah Richards is a possibility. Nana Raptor in the chat, trying to listen whilst looking after great grandchildren. Oh, if Erin and Maya are watching, I love you both very much. Those are my lovely nieces. I love you both. If you're watching, you're amazing. And I'm sure that probably means my sister is watching. My sister is my new short form editor, by the way. Outrageously good at that. How cool is that, by the way, that my sister works for me now? That's pretty cool. But do you have an agent for FPL stuff? Yeah, I do. I know it sounds stupid, but it's required and necessary just to ease the workload a little bit. Get the pitch side, lads. Yeah, I know Reeve really well. I'm actually not particularly close to Theo, but I know Reeve extremely well. So I'll probably reach out to Reeve at some point and get him on. In fact, that's it. I should be making a note of some of these because Reeve wasn't on my list, and that's a great shout. Let me I've got a list of guests. Who did other people say? Reeve. Erin said, "Love you, Uncle Ross." My heart, I can't cope with her. She's so cute. Focal would be fun. I've already had Focal on the stream. On the podcast. By the way, if you're wondering what we're talking about, if you just joined, let me show you. It is my new podcast, FPL Therapy. This here. So please go subscribe. Oh, lovely. 30 of you have subscribed since I last... No, 20. Oh, that's not a lot. Come on. Only 20 of you subscribe. And I said, please subscribe. Let me get the link for you. James Alcott. Yeah, I've spoken to James already. James was one of the people that said, ask him in a few months. Mark Goldbridge. Mark Goldbridge follows me on Instagram, so maybe I can drop him a sneaky message and say... I don't know how much FPL he plays, though. I'll add all these people. Mark Goldbridge is a well, we could have a bit of a Man United chat at the very least. Yes, the Fantasy Football Hub. Yes, Jack, Redditor. I'll Jack.
Fantasy Football Hub.
What did I say? Hob. That's how you speak. That's how you speak every day. Hub. Calix. I don't know that Calix does. Cal Freezy plays a lot of FPL. Yeah, Will and E I've spoke to. Will and E's on the list for sure. You should do a segment after the deadline. Ask Ross anything. You already do, but make it a feature. I mean, it is now. Yeah, ask Ross anything. Go ahead. Ask me anything. Statman Dave. Again, I've already spoken to Statman Dave. He was another person that said ask in a few months because he's not always in London. Stormzy. Yeah, that'll just be. He's just the busiest man alive. Pickle on the pod. Pickle will come on the pod when she builds up the confidence, if ever. Spencer FC. Spencer. So this is a dream. Like Spencer FC was my favorite YouTuber growing up. I messaged him and he replied, and it was pretty cool. It was like a fanboy moment. Spencer said yes, but not right away again. So it's just a matter of like a lot of people have agreed to do it. It's just getting them locked in. Seb, what like Seb on golf or Seb as in Seb from Scout? I've asked both of those to be fair. Yeah, Spencer's brother Seb will come on, but again, the people are so busy. The bigger people are. Don't go changing. Vibes. The bigger people are, the busier they are. The Zarati kid. Literally, when I messaged Spencer, I was like, I loved Don't Go Changing. I loved Forever Blowing. I loved the Zarati kid. I loved all of that. Those Will of Fortune. All of Spencer's old stuff. Try and get Specs Gonzalez. I was with Specs last week, actually. Specs records with Philly and Chunks where I record my podcast. So I was just sat with Chunks, Philly, and Specs whilst they were recording. I was sat there whilst they were recording TikToks, and it was quite cringe, to be honest. Watching them in the background do their TikToks. It's so funny watching TikToks be recorded rather than actually just watching them on your feed. Road to Shore? Yeah, Harry's just so busy, man. Trying to get Harry's on would be a nightmare. Big Man Bakar? I don't know where Big Man lives. I know Big Man's from Pakistan. Does he live in Pakistan? Does he live in the UK? It's a possibility. If he lives in the UK, I can absolutely consider it. Some people I know they're from a certain place, but I don't know if they lived there. Like, for example, Zoff and Pranil, I'd love to have them both on, but they both live in India, so that's very difficult. I mean, I could get people to, like, call in, but I feel like that defeats the object. I feel like you've got to get them there in person for my podcast. Joe from Fantasy Football Scout. Joe from Fantasy Football Scout lives in Devon or Cornwall, so that's a trek for him to get here. Oh, the lineups are out. Yeah, let's do it. I'm really toying with the idea of triple captain Salah. I do not know how to tell you this, mate, but you are 17 minutes too late. The deadline's at 11.
Yeah, Garnacho doesn't start 'cause it's unchanged.
That's insane that Garnacho doesn't start. I would have bet my mortgage that I don't have that Garnacho starts. How has he not put Garnacho in that 11? Yeah, I know. The first comment, what does he need to... That is outrageous. And Xerxes not getting the nod. So, okay, so for those of you that have Bruno Fernandes is once again basically playing as like a dual 9 with Mount. So Mount and Fernandes play through the centre, and one of them will play as the 9, one as the 10, and they'll do that. So, yeah. If Mason Mount continues to play this role and Xerxes doesn't get into the 11, Mount becomes an issue? That was a Freudian slip. Mount becomes a serious option, is the word I was looking for. Get Tom Syndicate. I love Tom. But Tom doesn't understand football, doesn't like football, and would never be on a football podcast. But yeah, I'd love to speak to Tom for sure. How's the mental health going into the week without Haaland? Honestly, really, really good. And I'm proud of myself for that. But at 3 p.m, my heart rate will be 100. My heart rate right now is 64. I can't believe I'm at... Sorry, that my ADHD kicked in. I'll get back to Haaland. I can't believe I'm at a stage where I can stream to 3,000 people with everything going on, and my heart rate is in the mid-60s. That's crazy. Wild. I feel like we should get a heart rate monitor going on the stream. I'd love to... There's probably a way to get an app.
Really cool.
Right, like, so that the closer it gets to deadline, you can see my heart rate going up. And when I mention triple captain Haaland, it goes up. If I had the capacity to do that, then I would do that. It's a great idea, but... Chat, look at my heart rate on my Fitbit. 43 is the lowest it goes to. 43. Oh, it's 73 now. Oh, it's gone up. Oh, it was in the mid-60s a second ago. I only got 5 hours, 43 minutes of sleep. Don't tell me off, Mum. I'm sorry. But yeah, my heart rate's crazy. Look how low that resting heart rate is. I'm sorry for nerding out about my resting heart rate. Some people won't care about this at all. But look, 52 is the average. That is a crazy resting heart rate. The first comment from Yelena in months on a live stream is just, all right, heart rate brag. Yeah, I am. I've got a healthy heart. Do you know what? And I am bragging about it. I'm proud. Look at this. It's been 51 at some points. What an athlete I am. Are you cutting? No, oh, yeah, I am. I've lost. Chat, I'm going to now show you my weight. I thought I'm exposing myself a bit here. I have lost a lot of weight recently, in a good way, because I was really fat, but that is my weight over the last month. I know that's a bit extreme, but I've gone from like 85 kilos to just under 80. Look at that weight loss. Fantastic. Largely going down. My average resting heart rate is 47. Well, no one likes to show off. My heart rate is 34. I would probably recommend... Oh, wait, I've got a doctor with me.
That's severely braddy. 47's good.
Do you know what that's called when your heart rate's below 60? It's called bradycardic. And if you're over 100, it's called tachycardic. I'm basically a doctor now because she teaches me all of that stuff. How much do you bench, Daddy? My bench PB is 95 kilos. How are you losing the weight? Just not eating loads of sugar. I actually found that largely sugar is the issue, not calories for me. Because calories I don't eat. I just eat so much sugar. How tall are you? I'm 178 centimeters or 5'10". 100% you lost so much weight because you don't have Haaland. Mine's 41. Is that bad, Dr. Pickle?
Pardon?
Is a resting heart rate of 41 bad? That's a bit low, isn't it?
I mean, if you're like an athletic runner, then no.
As long as you're athletic, that's probably not too bad. Wait, 41, that's the lowest point, that's fine. But if that's your resting heart rate, then yeah.
Yeah, like if you're asleep and it's 41, that's pretty normal. Having a heart rate of 40 to 50 when you're asleep.
95 is savage, bro. Yeah, but like if I'm doing a working set, it's 80 to 85 kilo. I'm not pretending I'm doing 95 for like 8 to 10 reps. If I'm doing like 8 reps, it would be 80 to 85 kilos. So yeah, I'm not as strong as I was making out there. Can gym grow my hair back? What do you think? This is the situation I'm dealing with, and I've been going to the gym for like 2 years now. My resting heart rate is 102. Is that okay, Dr. Raptor? No. That's not good. You need to probably get checked. Below 50, get yourself checked out. I think it depends on a variety of... listen, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice.
No,
Do you want to come and take the seat and advise the... People are asking about their medical... We could have a section called Ask Pickle where you like help people with their medical stuff.
Oh gosh. I mean, it'd be good practice.
How can it be too low? What if it's 0? It's too low. No, it can be too low.
I can tell you why it can be too low.
You get to speak loud.
If your heart is not beating enough, you're not perfusing the rest of your body, and your body, like your tissues, need the blood supply for your body to work. So if your heart's going too slowly, you're not giving the oxygen and the nutrients that your body needs, and so you won't be very good. You won't be very well after that. It can be too low.
Check Dr. Pickle out. So basically, you need the blood to be pumping around your body at a certain rate to be able to, for your tissues and things to function.
So perfuse meaning like the blood flow
Yeah.
to your...
So basically, yes, you can have a heart rate that's too low. Look at that. We don't hear shit, by the way. You should do if you turn up your volume.
Sorry, I tried.
Is she a doctor? She's in medical studies, but no, she's not a doctor as of right now.
I'm training to become a PA. Not a doctor, but a PA.
PA means physician associate, not personal assistant, by the way. Because people are going to think you're training to be a personal assistant and you're just talking about doctor stuff. Pickle, my pinky toe is yellow and green. Is that bad?
Oh, God.
What if my resting is 110? That's not good.
No, not good.
Right. Anyway, we're stopping now. Could it mean your blood pressure is really high? Potentially. I don't know. Garnacho benched. Yikes. I know. It's crazy. 20% of the men in the UK die of a heart attack when Haaland not only blanks but comes off injured at 59 minutes. I mean, factually, maybe not perfect. Oh, my camera's completely... Oh, we are talking complete death of the camera. Do you know what? That's probably a sign. I was thinking about ending it soon anyway. Thank you for being here today, chat. I appreciate you very much. And thank you for sticking around after the deadline. And yes, hopefully Haaland blanks. I will see you tomorrow for a transfer plans video. So if it goes really well for me, tune in to see my happy face. And if it goes really poorly, then tune in to see me crying. And I will start the video absolutely sobbing. I love you all very much. Have a fantastic weekend. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, chat.